different country we have today per the data.
I see. And that's what the president was talking about the standard of living and also how that has improved over the period. It's a reflective of it. But then let me welcome, before we get into the other issues, let me welcome the Honorable Andy Apiakubi, the former Member of Parliament for the Santiachim North constituency. He's a private legal practitioner. Honorable Andy Apiakubi, good morning.
Good morning.
Happy New Year. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you also.
Wonderful. Also, Martin Kpebu is private legal practitioner, leader of the Kurindo Day demonstration. Martin Kpebu, good morning.
Morning.
Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, good. Happy New Year too, right? We hope this year will bring us a lot of good health.
Indeed.
And prosperity, right? Yes, because we need to live well to be able to. Anyway, so once again, we thank the people of Ghana for making this show the biggest and the greatest, right? And the best of all of the shows in Ghana. Thank you. It's your consistent engagement and insights. The side notes you give us, check this is wrong, no, it's the other way, etc.
Absolutely.
These are the things that have built this program. And we urge you to continue to do same. Once again, we want to thank Toby Afede for speaking up when Akufo-Addo was maltreating us and misgoverning. The same to Yaa Asantewaa and Doma Ahene, Osei Ajimabedu the second. Of course, not forgetting Garmanche Teki Teku through the second, the man leading the charges for us to recover the Cicely Adapa money. Of course, I've been in touch with Remonacha some months ago.
Yeah.
I hope, yes, very soon. We are looking for it. Not specifically on that matter, but once he hasn't come out to say that there is nothing, it means that something should be ongoing. Or
right.
It's a fair assumption.
At least we deserve an update.
Yes.
Anyway.
Is it the case that Martin has a special agenda and he takes interest to advocate same on this platform? Always, and I want to educate Martin to desist from this show of hatred towards individuals. I continue to advise him, but he doesn't take my advice. If you have issues about governance, principles, articulate them, but don't personalize a person.
It's because of bad deeds. That's why everybody has a name.
Continue to
that's your style.
Hate
call it
towards
hate.
That person all the time.
Call it hate.
It is not professional.
Please, Mr. Okase, what we are dealing with today is that Cicely Adapa attempted to explain the source of the money twice and failed. Why do you call hate?
The host is greeting you. He expects you to greet back. But you don't bring people here when you don't give them opportunity to defend themselves.
They don't even say anything today. Just go back home.
No.
They don't say anything. Go back home.
We are going to discuss principles, concepts. We are not going to discuss personalities. Particularly when they are not here.
Mr. Apiakubi, it's too late in the day. That's been my style. All these years. Then can you unwind and reverse everything I've said? That is my style.
So we deserve at least an update from Yoko on
It is not a subject matter for discussion today.
So okay.
Then we will all contribute to it.
Thank you very much.
But when you bring somebody on this platform, that person doesn't have the right of rebuttal.
Then don't say anything. Don't even come here again.
No, thank you very much. Thank you for this. And this was just on the side issues. But then the other one, the quick one. This one, standard of living in the last 12 months. What's your verdict
Well, from the statistics and reading from here, I see that the polling is suggesting that people are saying that their standard of living have improved tremendously, looking at the numbers. 57%, 56% is quite on the high. So generally, we could presume that, granted that the people polled have shown this commitment to the survey and responses, then it means that, well, ordinarily one would say that standard of living has improved. But I would say that standard of living will not only be dependent on cost of living, as my good friend was saying. It talks generally about even the environment, what are we seeing, health, all that put together. Then we'll say that our standards, infrastructure development, all that. But I think that my good friend is focusing more on cost of living, which in itself will not give us the necessary responses from the citizenry. So I would have thought that we would, widen the scope and look at generality of life. And in my personal view, we should be looking more at the opportunity cost, whether the prices are going down as against other variables like environment, depletion in the environment. Let's put all that in a basket. Then we'll see whether generally we have an improved standard of living or otherwise.
I see. Now, you rather we take it from that perspective.
Yes.
On that's Musa.
Prof has been talking about cost of living, and that's what I heard him to be talking about.
No, I mean, what we're trying to say is that people generally link cost of living improvement to their standard of living. I know there's a broader definition of living standards.
And from a technical standpoint, I would also bring in a lot more variables and put them in scope, and then we'll see whether or not we are seeing improvements in those areas. And I'm particularly emphatic in areas of environmental decadence or otherwise.
Right.
And I'm saying that if we put that in context, probably our results will be different. That's what I'm saying. And again, even health facilities, infrastructure development. In the last 12 months, what have been the improvement in infrastructure stock? What have been improvement in our educational system and educational results? What has been improvement in our health facilities in terms of facilities and access and quality? If we put all that in the basket, then we could be talking about generally standard of living as Ghanaians.
I see.
And even access to justice, law, access to recreation, all of that will come into it. But my good friend is only focusing more on cost of living, which again, we are not even referring to inputs. What it is that we have seen as a reduction in cost? Maybe tomato, maybe onions, cassava, yams. Let's look at the ingredients. Then we can see whether the cost of yams going down, tomatoes going down or up. And if you aggregate them, then you see generally, even on the inputs, we are seeing costs of these inputs going down as reference to the year before.
I see. Oh, okay, but is it just about the cost of living?
Look, sometimes we tend to dwell on technical definition of stuff. For the voter, he's a very simplistic person on the street. And his simplicity is what drives his voting intentions. So we must keep things a bit simple for the man on the street.
Okay.
Because for him, yes, not everything has come down in prices. A lot of things have gone up. The local and other things that we buy. But they feel that the environment that they live in terms of the economy and everything they've gone through, they are saying to us that compared to the last 12 months, their standard of living has improved.
I see. No, I'll come to you on this, but let me also apologize once again for the late start of the stream on Facebook and on X. We're on now. We're live on Facebook and on X, on YouTube as well. So you can connect. That is if those of you who, especially on the Voice of London Radio, Lamati standard of living over the last 12 months. You have what the president said. Does it reflect what your state of affairs is and what is captured in here? Quickly.
Yeah, so yes, the president is talked number one about the resilience of the Ghanaian. And resilience is very, very important because, if we don't continue to, live with hope, we don't continue to rise above our challenges, then there will be no tomorrow at all. So is the single most important or about the single most important factor when you are analyzing the chances of a nation or a society making progress. Once there is resilience, then you know that, yes, there is tomorrow. But the moment
Definitely
a citizen is knocked down, he doesn't desire to rise, to look for a new job, to seek help elsewhere, etc., then you know that there is trouble. So for me, one thing we'll find is that it's always been the case that we can't have everybody at this time in our national life being satisfied with our economic progress. It doesn't look like it. The reason is easy to make such a statement is that you look at even the advanced countries where they have food pantries, so where you can go if you are hungry, go into a food pantry and ask for food, etc. Even in those places, there are still people who are hungry. That's the problem. There are still people who are hungry. Recently, I watched in the UK, they are trying to ramp up the number of food pantries, calling some the Breakfast Club. Look at the very sexy name they've given it, the Breakfast Club, so that, a sexy name, Breakfast Club for people who cannot. Yes, it's good. You see, I laughing. It's good. We can't always be. For people who cannot afford food, etc. So the point I'm.
It's been like that all through. From Lagos, he hasn't changed.
Yeah, so that's my DNA.
Bringing out exotic words all the time.
A leopard doesn't change its spots.
Indeed.
So looking at those ahead of us, the fact that they are also still grappling with the cost of living crisis is serious. It's serious in the UK, US, etc. So it's just the same here, but at least our people are showing that we've improved significantly from 2024. You look at inflation, one of the greatest indications. The last, that's November's own, was at 6.3%.
Yes.
So showing that the rate of increase, and let's be clear, that's the rate of increase between this year's November and last year's November, not October.
True.
Last year's November has been what? A 6.3% increase. But if you check between last year's November and 2023 November, it's higher. Yes, we can prove if your data, we know it often that it was higher, etc. So generally, and so, when we talk about inflation, people will say, now, if the inflation we go chop. You see, Ghanaians have always said that, look, they don't want just numbers. I remember this from over 20 years ago. Yes, that Ghanaians say it's not inflation they will chop. But let's explain a bit more. So from the inflation figures, we're seeing that the rate of increase has come down, meaning that if it hadn't come down, and let's say if a bowl of rice, just for example, was 50 Ghana, right? Then it means that that's, let's say, last November, since we don't have December's data yet. So if last November a bowl of rice was 50 Ghana, right? And this year we're saying that the rate of inflation for November is 6.3. So meaning that, just as an example, the rate would have increased by 6.3, okay? Compared to between last November and the November of 2023, which was a bigger figure, was a far bigger figure, right? So what we're saying that it could have been worse in simple terms, meaning that it could have been worse. So the fact that it's not worse, you remember this, let me pass this through. Somebody said if GM had been in charge, the CD will go to 17 Ghana, or is it some ridiculous figure? But at least today, as we speak, the CD to the dollar is between 10 and 11, right? $1 for between 10 and 11 Ghana cedis. Somebody said if GM was in charge, it would have gone to 17. At least for 1 year, we've not seen 17. The people who said 17, they couldn't do better, right? So considering that it's not been as bad as it was projected, because remember that even Fitch, right? Even Fitch and other rating agencies had put inflation at beyond 10%. Even as a country, the IMF and the other indicators, I think at a point they said 15, then later it came down to about 8%, right? And then further, you see that, so we've beaten the projections. That's all I'm saying. True. From 15 plus or minus 15%, later they downgraded and said, okay, we could end the year with plus or minus 8%, and now it's even lower. We've ended up doing for November 6.3. And from all indications, it's likely December may be lower. So the thing is that in one way, it could have been worse. But since we've done it this way, we will not pat ourselves on the back. At force the Bank of Ghana and all the people. No time for celebrations yet, because it's the sustainability that is key. If we can keep this going for another 2-3 years, then we can pat ourselves in the back.
Is the sustainability 1 year goodwill for the president?
Yes.
Beyond this 1 year, what will determine the sustainability of the said goodwill that he's been experiencing or enjoying over the last 1 year?
Good. So number one, we'll continue with the resilience that we should continue to fight to make our lot better.
Okay.
Yes, we continue to fight, continue to look for jobs. If you are doing 1 acre in terms of farming, see if it's possible to make it 2 acres, right? If you're doing 1 part-time job, see if it's possible to find another part-time job. And then, of course, hopefully 2026 will be better because this year they will roll out the Nkukon Kitinkiti program. So young people, look, I'm very enthusiastic about agriculture, right? I told you that we are doing piggery and fishing, right? So the young people, they graduate. Look, when we're going to school, like sometimes we should say our story so that young people will not feel that they don't deserve to go into agriculture. Going to law school, look, we used to clean. I'll say cleaner. We used to go to the US. You would clean, sweep streets, okay? Wash dishes, etc. That's how we paid our school fees. So today, if you are asked to clean or you're asked to do agriculture, don't see agric as demeaning. I'm not the only one. Look, you check my classmates a lot. That was those days you hear international anyway. We did menial jobs, washing dishes, cleaning the streets of America, right? Driving, security, you name them, very menial jobs. That's how we got to where we are. So please.
Interesting. So the economy will be one in determining whether this goodwill will be sustained. You talk about the fight against corruption as well. A lot has been said about expectations of Oral and how things are playing out right now. What will be your verdict of Oral?
Oral is going to do far better. Oral is going to do
the next 1 year.
Yes, because there are going to be more cases. Dr. Ayene, I call him Professor Ayene, he's coming up, sending more cases to court, right? Last killer, Raymond Nacha, is also having more cases presented to the AG. And so this year you see more cases making it to court. And so the fight will be ramped up, ratcheted up, and so there will be no space for the corrupt ones who want to loot our public purse. And of course, the icing on the cake, we are begging President Mahama, we have to pass the asset declaration law that will enable publication of assets that are declared. The IMF has told President Mahama that he should make sure that the new law will have publication of assets.
There's an update on that. If you look at the fifth review, they say that that bit of the publication cabinet has taken it out. And then given it, they said the constitutional review will deal with it.
And they couldn't deal with it. So that's why I said we are begging President Mahama. This one, that should be his real legacy. The legacy of legacies. Yes, we know Nkukon Kitinkiti will come, the other things. But pass an asset declaration law that will make sure that when you declare your assets, you give to the Auditor General, there will be a publication online. So that a cousin of mine, let's say Boku, can sit down and Google and find out that, but Musa Dankwa, you say you have 10 houses, but in Boku alone, we see you have 20 houses. You see, when you publish it, it's going to even obviate the need for verification in many instances, because when you publish, it's going to be transparency. So all the citizens who are conscious enough will become the watchmen. But if you make Auditor General alone the watchman, that he alone should open the envelope and then send his officers to go and verify, not useful. Between verification and publication, any day, publication beats verification over 100 times. Because when the thing is online, as I said, the cousin of mine will sit in Boku and Google and find out that Musa Dankwa has 20 houses in Boku, yet he has declared only 10. Why is Musa Dankwa hiding 10 other houses? Are they the proceeds of some kwakwa, or what is it? Then you see, but you ask one Auditor General and his officers, go and verify secretly. We will not take that. So, President Mahama, we beg you, it must be a new code of conduct with publication at the center. Very good. Just last point. Look, I've brought once again the asset declaration forms. PV Obing,
you have his asset
Mary Grant, Kojo Chikata, Jerry John Rawlings, Jonas Mause Kweku Dolce, Obediah Asamoah, Kwame Ahoy, Emmanuel Haywood, Atudazi, Edward, Andrew Kwesi Botwe. Yeah, that's Kwesi Botwe. These are their asset declaration forms from the 90s.
Published.
Published. You go to Assembly Press next to Accra Poly, or now you say Accra Technical University. So we are not joking with this. So JM, this one you have to deliver it. This we'll call the legacy of legacies. Can you imagine, Mr. Okansi? Even Cape Verde, Central African Republic, Liberia, South Africa, they are ahead of us. How? Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana. Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana.
So that's the verdict for you. Asset declaration, they made public. Publication of the said assets. That's what, in your view, would sustain the goodwill for you for the next 1 year. Indeed. Corruption, state of the economy,
as you mentioned. Area that I support him. Okay. Because I think that for me, it helped. Because I published my assets when I entered public office. And indeed, I am ever ready for anybody to challenge me if there has been, unfortunately for me, and I will say this with interest, I haven't added anything. So for me, it works for me. What I declared in 2000 is the same what I declared in 2017. Is the same. Except that you see some painting to the property. Fine. Because I have painted even last month.
I see.
So the improvement you see is the paint that I have applied. But tentatively for the properties, they are the same. So I don't see why public officers are disinterested in publication. I will publish mine any day, any time. And indeed, when you add justifiably, you can also declare at any point in time.
Okay.
So I don't see any fetish about hiding your property coming into public office. It has worked for me. So I recommend that people agree to publish it so that the suspicion goes away.
Okay. Well, the goodwill has been enjoyed, and is within the 1 year period. We've seen this reflect in many ways. Godwin Edudzi-Tamilakolo is the CEO of the National Petroleum Authority, NPA, and also a private legal practitioner in good standing. Council, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. Good morning.
And a happy new year to you as well.
Our cherished viewers who had kept faith with us over the years.
Indeed.
Good morning to my neighbor, who I hardly see. Good morning to my two learned seniors, who today I'm blessed to join. You know,
whom you hardly see also.
Yes. And let me put on record that I have paid for my license, so I have my license.
Who challenged you on that?
No, he said a lawyer in good standing. Yes. So to prove I have duly paid for my license to practice. So I'm sure, you know, in those days, the GBA used to publish lawyers in good standing in the Daily Graphic. True. You know, even though it's an association, the publication tends to create an impression that if you are not in that newspaper publication, then you are not a lawyer. You know, so
no, you are a lawyer, but not in good standing.
No, but for the association, you can be a lawyer practicing by outside, you know, GBA. You know, but we want to thank God for what He has done for this country over the past 1 year. It is not in doubt that we took over a very difficult economy. President John Dramani Mahama, in taking the oath of office on the 7th of January 2025, it was clear that things were going to be very bad. And I recall vividly, just 2 days after the inauguration, there was doomsday. You remember?
Yes.
And our friends in the other side immediately turned a gun on us and said, "Oh, we told you so. These people, they are bringing back doomsday." You remember?
Yes.
But through President Mahama's leadership, together with my sector minister, the Honorable John Abdullahi Jinapo, today, nobody, we hardly even talk about light-ups. That's leadership. The economy, I mean, it was almost, I mean, I still remember my own brother, Miracle Abuaji and co. were clear that giving power to President Mahama means that the city was going to get to 25.
Not 17.
No, in fact, he was very clear, 1 to 25. Today, with the support of the Almighty God,
Amen.
the Ghana cedi officially trades at 10.5. I have seen an analysis made by my neighbor, the respected Musa Dankwa, where he makes the point that the Honorable Finance Minister has just announced that we have paid about $700 million as part of our Eurobond, commitment ahead of time.
Yes.
And he makes a very interesting analysis. He said, look, if Minister Atoforsen was going to pay that Eurobond, $700 million at 15 Ghana cedis, it was going to cost the Ghanaian taxpayer, 11.5 billion Ghana cedis. But because today the exchange rate is doing 10.5, it is costing taxpayers a little over 7.5 billion. So what it means that by simply the reason of the exchange rate, being stable.
In fact, our debts go up without we borrowing when the cedi depreciates.
The truth of the matter is that Musa Dankwa puts it in better perspective. He says that, look, simply because the cedi is doing 10.5, what would have cost the taxpayer $11 billion, we now did it at 7.5 billion. What it means is that there had been a savings of almost 3 billion. That 3 billion savings can do free SHS. That 3 billion can do free SHS. That 3 billion can do LEAP. That 3 billion can do no fee stress. That 3 billion can pay road contractors. That 3 billion, that savings alone, simply by just stabilizing the Ghana cedi, can do huge things for the Ghanaian economy. So what it simply tells you as a group of people, that putting competent people, and I repeat, competent persons with quiet strengths, not noisemakers, at the helm of affairs, is all you need. My senior brother here, and I respect him a great deal. Look, in all political parties, you need a few of the Andiapia Kubis.
What do you mean?
You may not like them, but they often come across as gadflies. In Athenian society, the likes of Socrates and co. Were considered as gadflies. The horse needs constant what? Stink.
Opposition.
You need somebody who will just give you and shake your body small. It's uncomfortable, but it helps. I recall when the likes of Andy Apiakubi and co. with the 94 MPs went to President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and said, look, yes, it's true. We have seen the NDC put up a vote of censure. We will not join them because that's NDC politics. But among ourselves, we believe that the time has come that President Akufo-Addo, you must let go of family. And let me say that the reason why we had the worst form of economic performance under Akufo-Addo is simply because of familiarity. Akufo-Addo could simply not call Ken Ofori-Atta to order.
Okay.
And you need that. So when the likes of Andy, the 94 MPs, the rebellious 94, took up the fight. I'm making this point. Took up the fight. Oh, very rebellious. Nana was not happy and you knew it. You see? But at the end of the day, they saw ahead of time.
You see, when my nephews think that I'm rebellious.
That's where the problem is.
They saw ahead of time that there was going to be a disaster. Let me tell you something. Look, by 2021, it became obvious that the economy was going to crash. But Ken quickly then put up a model and said, look, instead of going to an IMF program, right, I will bring e-levy. So if you recall, November 19th budget, 2021, saw the introduction of e-levy. By which time, we should have been going to the IMF. But as ordained...
Well, we're exiting the program.
No, I'm just saying, no,
everything,
the refusal. It took the governor of Bank of Ghana to tell the president that, Mr. President, the economy is at the verge of collapse. And that is why on Friday, 1st July 2022, Nana Addo had no other option than to call the IMF boss and say, look, I have come on my knees with my crown in hand. Please come and intervene. And so if you recall, we went to the IMF at the point where we were in intensive care unit. And that is why if you look at the IMF prescriptions and conditionalities, they were the toughest we have seen. Today, our friends in the NPP complain about quarterly tariff adjustment. What they have forgotten is that they signed that commitment to the IMF. Regrettably, because at the time they went to the IMF, they didn't go when the conditions were favorable. They went when everything was down.
I see.
Look, even Achampong, the Achamponic era, we never declared DDEP. Achampong never did. But President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo with his Fastiano Mame, what's the name?
Bawumia.
But
you know, the head of economic management. And let me conclude on this. Have you seen President Mahama openly announce economic management team?
well, in the next 1 year, what would it take? No,
have you seen it?
No. What would it take?
But what is the state of the economy?
The economy.
I can't say
The economy is one of the elements identified as one that would sustain or otherwise the president's goodwill for the next 1 year. It's been 1 year of goodwill, not honeymoon.
We'll come to the...
But then, beyond that, what next? That's where we are now.
You see,
quickly.
Many years ago, before like months before the campaign, the election, I went to one of the banks, and a man came into the banking hall and pulled me out. He said, Edwigi, we see the work you guys are doing. You have our support for 2024. The economy is in bad shape, so we are not expecting much with President Mahama becoming president. What we just want to see is to see accountability. And that is what, if you recall, resulted in Operation Recover All Loots. Because then we realized that we risked a 1979 scenario where the people then used to shout, let the blood flow. We couldn't have blood flowing, but people wanted to see a certain level of accountability. And that is what culminated in that campaign promise. Let me say this. It's been over a year now. All the things that have been uncovered, for a moment, if Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia had won, do you think those things would have come out?
Oh, you think they wouldn't?
How were they? No. How were they? How were they? So the change itself was good. It was therapeutic.
Yeah.
In fact, NPP members are today enjoying the change.
You say NPP members are enjoying the change. How do you know that?
We talk to them quietly.
And they've been telling you that they enjoy the change.
Look, they tell you, oh, Edwigi, dollar now my no credit the papa. They'll tell you in quiet. Just that they come out to, and it's normal politics, it's understandable. If you come and you are always singing the praise of President Mahama, who will even consider you in future or something for anything? And so, deliberately, you can see the benefit to our people. Okay. Let me conclude on this. Alfred, if you go to the pumps today, right, and I have with me a publication on my Joy Online, Joy Business, 4th December 2024. check the date, 4th December 2024, Joy Business, and you can Google, anybody watching us can easily Google. Petrol to sell at 15.30 per liter, Ghana cedis. Diesel to sell 15.80 Ghana cedi per liter, 4th December 2024. 19th December 2025, barely a year after, the same product is selling between 12 and 11. What it tells, even with the 1 Ghana cedi levy, what it tells you is that significantly, there's a cedi savings of almost 3 cedis on every liter. You can't call this AI generated.
Okay.
With all due respect to my senior brother, Brian Achampong, this is not AI generated.
Okay.
This is data. Data that is contestable. The numbers, and like I've given you the same Joy Business. And so I just want to say that, look, in the words of one famous economist, he said, when in doubt, observe the exchange rates. A very famous economist.
All right, thank you. So you are looking at it right now.
Sinandi, why are you laughing?
All right.
Sinandi is heckling me. He's heckling me.
And when your fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose you.
So the goodwill 1 year,
two statements.
economy yes, fight against corruption. That's what
infrastructure
and
infrastructure. Look, let me say this, and I'll conclude on this.
No,
If
I
you
thought
go,
you had
yes,
already-
I'll conclude. If you go online now, there's a story attributed to the Rules Minister, the respected Honorable Kwame Agboja, governors. He says, look, we have done, and we are in the process of awarding over $5 billion worth of road contract. No borrowing.
Very good.
I see.
That's significant.
Okay.
Let me take off
And
from
the-
where my good
Do you
friend-
know that the
Thank
expressway
you.
will pass through his
You made your point.
constituency?
Oh,
Thank
let
you.
it pass. Why not?
It will pass through his constituency.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Maybe 2 corrections to make. Indeed, we did not say that e-levy was entirely bad as a policy. What we were saying was that the implementation was flawed. And indeed, the rate
mean the
was
group
also
of MPs,
contestable
yes.
because we had agreed as Parliament to put the rate at 1%.
Okay.
And indeed, we had a unanimity in the agreement. That was in Ho when Parliament met. But it took the recalcitrancy of just the minister then not to listen to all of us. That is how come we started from some 3% that faced some challenges. So it was not a bad policy after all, but it was the implementational difficulties that made it bad. And we couldn't also achieve the targets as expected. So e-levy policy, tax itself is not a bad thing, but the management of the tax arrangement and also the management of the resources that come out of the taxation is what is sometimes problematic. So yes, I agree with my brother. If the rate is stabilized for a long time, we must acknowledge that as a contribution of the economy to the general calculations. I agree to that, and I acknowledge that, and I expect it to continue like that.
Okay.
And if we are able to maintain that, so good for all of us. Why not? But I'm saying that let us not look at only one angle of it and see how it impacts on the other sectors of the economy. And I'm very worried about the impact that this makes on the environment. If we can improve it, I'm not saying mining is bad.
You're talking about Galamsey?
Yes, but responsive mining or responsible mining is probably what we need to address to cushion us of the economic difficulties. So let's improve generally in the economy, looking at also the environment, looking at education and all that. But we can do that sustainably if we are careful, but not careless. So I will not support any program that brings other difficulties in other areas. but let's manage the total economy and ensure that we are getting quality and value for money rather than value from here and degradation on the other side. So generally put all of it in context, we say that it is not bad.
But in fact, the economy. Is that position all contestable? I've always maintained. The impression had been created that the economy has grown at the expense of the environment. Is that really
we have a culture? We have a culture here, and the culture is that when somebody is speaking,
I'll come to you. So you conclude on the point that you were making.
Hold on. The heckling is permissible.
Yes.
The heckling is not permissible. So what I'm saying is that, yes, when you see a good thing, support it. I will not challenge if the figures are right, but let me see sustainability in it. And if I have any contribution to make it work better for all of us, why not? Me, I'm not particularly interested in who is doing it. I'm particularly interested in who are enjoying it. And if all of us are enjoying from whoever, I think it will be better. So I'm not challenging the figures as they come, because I know also that the dollar rate is low now. Yeah, that's a fact. I can't sit here and say that the dollar is, the cedi is depreciating beyond. No. It is appreciating, and however it is being done, let's see whether we can improve the system to sustain it. For me, that is my argument. And it doesn't matter if it is NDC doing it and it's doing it for all of us, fine. Probably when we come to inherit a better situation, we will also build on it. But I also agree with him that in our appointment, in fact, most of these things happen because of our flawed appointment systems. When, in the last week when I was here, I told you that in one of the meetings that I participated, some people came to get me out and talk to me that I should intervene because somebody who was supposed to do the bidding for Ghana was failing us. And I said, why? Why should this person be there if he didn't understand what was happening? So I agree with him that when we are going through appointment systems, let's make sure we bring our best foot forward so that all of us will enjoy the benefits. Other than that, if nepotism takes the better part of us and we put wrong people there, that's where we experience come and save him, that kind of scenario.
You say come and save him, what do you
Well, it doesn't work for us. And then because when you talk about this person not being competent, we will invoke all invectives, negative ones against you. But at the end of the day, it is the end that justifies what we are saying. Well, I'm not saying that the economy was on one person, but in our very case that I know, and when I gave you the scenario, when the whole of Parliament agreed that let's manage 1% of this tax arrangement and manage it well, one person said, no, I won't agree. And I won't agree superseded the consensus as built. You see, and that was not good enough for the general economy. And this is why we saw the failure in the implementation of that tax
That's the e-levy.
The e-levy. So if we had agreed and all of us had marketed, probably the results would have been different. But because one person said, no, I will agree, and I remember Honorable Haruna Idrisu, then
who is this one person who said he's not
then majority leader. We were in Freedom Hotel or something, whole hotel, and he said that we on the minority side, we agree to the 1% as being proposed by the majority. But one person said, no, I wouldn't agree to that, and I want 3%.
Who?
And I didn't have that mandate to speak for the government at the time.
Sure.
But both of us in Parliament had agreed on this thing. If we had probably implemented that, we would have gotten better results.
And that,
so
that one person's voice was that strong enough to topple all the others?
It gives us the lesson that going forward, let's consult and let's listen to all opinions. Because in that mandate, you are operating for Ghana, not for yourself, or not for one political party, or not for the government alone. You are operating for the whole country. So listen to other people's opinion and let's work for the betterment of Ghana. So I agree. If it will take even the devil to come and make Ghana good, I will support any initiative that makes us good or makes us look good and brings us more competitiveness even on the international platform.
So even if it will take the devil
Yes,
to get us
out of economic doldrums, I will support the devil to do that.
Kofi Bento is private legal practitioner. He's a vice president of Imani Africa.
So what I'm saying is that I don't care who does it.
Yes, I get the point.
But I'm worried about who will not do it right.
Okay.
And who will do right, I will support.
Even
So,
if it is the devil. Thank you.
Even if it takes the devil.
Thank you.
Kofi, you are welcome.
Thank
you.
Good morning.
Alfred,
Welcome.
I thought
Thank you for joining
30
us.
seconds,
I have to welcome.
So that you
Happy New Year. Wait.
A very important point my senior has made this morning.
Thank you. Thank you.
The gendarme does not stay. We have to kill the gendarme.
Thank you, and a happy New Year to you. We wish the best for this team, for this station, for yourself,
Thank you.
for everyone in Ghana.
Indeed. And welcome. Welcome.
Are you worried about the
1 year on, you
Yeah.
still think that the president is enjoying some goodwill. What will that take, in terms of, let's do this. We've seen what Musa Dankwa is reflected, the job approval, standard of living. How do you see the next 1 year playing out?
The next 1 year.
They've identified corruption, the economy, Galamsey.
So, you see, when it comes to these stats, job approval, etc., I think a better way to appreciate this is to appreciate it in perspective, all right? Because we tend to forget very quickly, especially in Ghana, but generally, and history is a very good guide. Now, if you watch the Third Republic, every president, apart from maybe President Mills, has enjoyed intense honeymoon in their first year. All right? So this sentiment is very normal. Look, let me just refresh your memory. President Kufuor came after President Rawlings. And all the people here were alive. When we were trying to transit into a democracy, nobody believed that President Rawlings would give up power. From when the constitution was done to the transitional provisions, everybody thought, no, this man will never give up power. We had an election, he won, we just left it alone. Finally, President Kufuor won. Every day, people thought President Rawlings would come back and take power one way or the other. The whole first year of President Kufuor, we wake up and we're wondering, is this government still there? And there was this euphoria. And in that instance, it was actually mixed with some fear. So we're very happy when after 1 year, okay, of President Kufuor, this country was still stable. And I remember, it was euphoric. It went into the next year, all right? After that, we expected, in fact, some MPP people said NDC will stay in opposition for 30 years. The next person we expected was President Nana Addo to take over from him. And he lost on a runoff. And President Mills came in. So note, President Mills came in after losing first round and winning second round. He wasn't really expected to. So he was very, gingerly. But a lot of sympathy inured to the benefit of Nana Addo. And after 3 rounds, Nana Addo became president. People wept during Nana Addo's inauguration. We forgot these things. It was intense emotion. In the first year of Nana Addo, it was the same thing. In fact, more. People were happy, went into the next. In fact, the first 4 years, even after the 4 years of Nana Addo, when things didn't look like they were going well, Nana Addo got the second term. Because people were really euphoric. He managed to mess up so bad that around the 8 years, everybody wanted him out. And then President Mahama, who had had the bad run in the previous times, comes in riding on the disaffection against President Nana Addo.
Except he's better. His record shows he's better.
Let me do my work. Let me do my work. Okay. 1, riding on the disaffection against President Nana Addo. 2, people also felt like he has suffered, all the things that he suffered. And you had the worst economic performance in the history of this country, where people actually lost their money after the president promised them that they won't lose any money. The sentiments were intensely against them. To that extent, therefore, this government, even if they did nothing, all right, the change was therapeutic. I remember speaking to some investors, once in a while, these people come around and they call us and we talk to them.
Yeah.
And I told them that, look, even though I would have preferred a different outcome, President Mahama winning was therapeutic and necessary for Ghana.
It was therapeutic.
It was therapeutic and necessary for
We're
Ghana.
using the same expressions as Eduji at some point, yes.
Because that's true. People just wanted to break with this thing. All right? So for me, I'm happy with it. And we came from such a low that even stabilizing this economy and not doing much was going to be sufficient. Then I realized I'm an analyst, we watch these things.
Absolutely.
Good presidents tend to be lucky.
Good presidents tend to be lucky. What do you mean?
What I mean is that there's a saying that, fortune favors the brave and the universe conspires to the aid of they that are seeking the good things in life. The whole universe, let me explain why I'm saying what I'm saying. People are saying the city has appreciated, which is true. All right? But what they are not saying is that the dollar has depreciated across the world. All right? I work in a place where we are analyzing the economics. People are giving a lot of, kudos to Gold Board. Gold Board has done something. But the effect of Gold Board on the city today is less than 10%. Watch the numbers. The dollar has depreciated. There's so many different things playing out. But the point I'm making is that good presidents tend to be lucky. All right? The whole of this year, this government has almost not spent. The first 6 months, they didn't spend anything. Even up to now, there are, intentions to spend and that kind of thing, but not much expenditure has happened. And we've gone 1 year already. Okay? When you work the economics of it, everything is working towards what we are saying today. And it is good. And I commend President Mahama for it. Indeed, we are a better off country. Before the election, I wrote a piece. And in the piece, I said that, look, we are lucky as Ghanaians to have President Mahama and Vice President Bawumia as the people to choose from, because both of them are very fine gentlemen. And that's what we've seen. President Mahama is the best best dove amongst the hawks in his government. What I mean is, there are people in the government, including nice people like Eduji, who would want some wilder reactions, okay, given the change of government. And President Mahama is stamping them all down. Point I'm making is that we are lucky as a country to have that man. So look, everybody knows where I stand. But like my senior here said, when you see good things, commend them.
Yes.
And whatever we did to get these things, let's continue to do those things. What is leading to this outcome? And I'm speaking to the young people who talk by heart. Is that we have sustained a democracy which allows us to change governments. And we don't have a despot holding a gun telling us what to do. And that is what we must maintain, no matter how bad it gets. We ought to be able to get up as a people, go to a polling station. If even you are like me and you didn't like this particular outcome, live with it, because this is the best that the world, human beings, have devised for themselves. So, given what we are seeing here, I am not surprised, but I have given you a historical perspective that, look, it is not strange, okay? The task or the challenge is what happens in the next 3 years. I hear them talk about $5 billion worth of infrastructure. If they are able to invest $5 billion in infrastructure
without
and finish,
borrowing.
I'm coming there. If they're able to do that without borrowing and complete what they want to do, I will stand here, commend them, okay, and clap for them.
You vote for them.
Oh, listen.
Bring the ice.
But the commendation results in the
Listen. You see, today, the only person, okay, that I will vote for above President Mahama is President Bawumia. If Bawumia were not there, I'll vote for Mahama. Okay, but Mahama is not coming back. Who are you bringing? It comes to that.
That question of who are you bringing leads us to the next issue. You wanted to do a quick
there are some
rebuttal.
two issues that came up.
Yes, quickly.
I think that we have grown and made the economy better, not at the expense of the environment.
Oh.
And I say this because, you see, the attempt has been made to water down the impact of the economic growth. And there had been this other conversation. Look, if you look at the phenomenal work done by Gold Board, let me say this. In a year, if you have a situation where, through the instrumentality of one agency, right, you can have about $10 billion worth of forest repatriation. That is phenomenal. look, what Gold Board has done, that is what we use Eurobond to do in 6 years.
It's not true.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you why it is true. The data. By first year of President Akufo-Addo, with Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia as the chair of the economic management team, we had done 2.25 Franklin Templeton bond in the first year.
Because they met a mess.
Calm down, calm down. We have not done so, even though we have met a mess. That's the point I'm making. So you brought yourself.
No.
Okay.
Because so
You are-
I was
no,
speaking
no,
in gaming. Let me put it in perspective. Listen. At the
So-
time that
so-
I was on the floor, you came in.
Oh, I
Okay,
thought
finish
you
your
had-
I
point.
also want to rebut the
No,
dollar
finish your point.
decline.
So finish your point.
I also have that economic
let me just
You're all
make this
taking
point.
us out of context.
Yes.
Please, let's
So
stay
the
on
point,
People, they will
the
come
point
back.
I am making is that you have a situation where through the instrumentality of Gold Board, the 6 years Eurobond of $11 billion, right? You've gotten that same $10 billion forest repatriation in a year.
Yes.
No external commitment on the Republic. The Eurobond brought external commitment to the Republic. Not only external commitment, it became debilitating to the point that we needed to go for a DDEP, which eventually resulted in elderly people for the first time in our political history going on demonstrations. Those are records you can never take away from what President Mohammed's team of economists have done in stabilizing.
Right.
The question is, have that been done against the backdrop of the environment? Certainly, we've been able to provide a clear balance. And that, for me, is the record.
Thank you. That's what you wanted to say. The quick one. He concluded on a point,
Look,
which
we
was
are-
to respond to an issue that
Yes,
Kofi Benton raised.
we are
Yes.
commending the government, okay? You people keep talking about Gold Board.
Cautiously.
Okay.
Yes. Look, watch what has happened with Gold Board. It was PMMC. The difference between the performance of PMMC and Gold Board is very little. That is one. This government came and met 30 tons of gold in office. Okay, and in 1 year, they added just about 1 ton. Now, you've sold $10 billion worth of gold and pumped the money into the economy and added just 1 ton. The people who saved the 30 tons, they could have sold it and pumped the money into the economy. All right? So, look, let's have perspective that it's not everything that you've done which is the best that could have been done. And it does not necessarily cast a negative shadow on the previous government because they saved 30 tons of gold. And they could have chosen to sell it and pump it into the
Now,
market.
let me also come in. 30 tons. We printed money to buy the 30 tons and it created problems. And the IMF stopped us. The IMF stopped us.
The value of 30 tons is far more than the
disclosure.
How much
The
did you-
IMF had to stop us because we created inflation.
Martin,
We
Martin,
printed
how
money
much did
to
you
buy.
print? And how much was the value of the 30
How are you
tons?
presenting as if it was
I'll come you on it.
Okay,
So you hold on.
let me land.
Land.
When these arguments are made without figures, it throws dust in the eyes of people. What is the value of 30 tons of gold? Okay, and how much was printed? We have all condemned the economic mess. Okay, so let him speak to those things because you did 10 billion. How much is that in gold? The simple point I'm making is this. With a different set of decision making, and by the way, it was Bawumia was in charge of some of those things, which some of us criticized. Okay, but the point I am making is that even when you take credit, be careful to apportion it properly.
How?
Because if you didn't have 30 tons of gold, you would not have the base with which to
With
sell
respect.
what you sold
With
and bought 1
respect.
billion.
Look,
I mean,
look,
So
you see,
now you
Senior Kofi tried to
you acknowledge
downplay
Yes.
the economic work President Mahama has done by trying to say that, listen carefully, that the U.S. currency, it is because of a weakened
Yes,
US
exactly.
currency. How come the Naira is not doing well?
Exactly, that's where I was coming
it's
from.
a fact that the US currency is the weakest it has been in 15 years.
Because the U.S. currency is doing so badly. How
Thank
come
you.
that the Nigerian
Yes.
Naira is
Yes.
doing as better as the Ghanaian cedi?
And that's what I wanted to say
do
too.
that.
That's what I wanted. So it all
Okay.
depends.
Thank you.
Can I get one sentence?
Now, I want
One
to hear you.
sentence. So let's repeat.
That's a
Contributing factor. The gold is a
Thank you.
contributing
So let's
factor.
repeat.
How come
The
the
lack of
Naira
spending
is
is a
not doing
contributing
well?
factor.
Let me hear. Let me hear.
Yeah.
If there was that global weekend effect.
Yes.
We
Which
now
is a
have to
contributory factor.
Yes.
Let's disaggregate. How much of that contributed to what we are experiencing now?
Listen carefully.
But then again,
listen
also,
carefully. The
not
Ghanaian
discount
economy has
what
always
Gold
been
Board has
unique.
done.
I recall
Gentlemen, hold on.
many years
I-
ago, Dr. Bamia asked a person. He said, how come that global factors have left all other countries and it is only Ghana? Because at that time, the Honorable Setekwe had put out there that having read the budget and projected that crude prices was going to be about $85 per barrel. We woke up one morning and crude prices had come to $45 per barrel. And when we raised that issue that it is that impact that has impacted on the economy between 2014 and 2016, Bamia's response is that global factors, how come that they've left Ivory Coast and come to Ghana?
Yes, excellent.
Today, curiously, we are being told that it is not because of anything novel. Nothing about ingenuity.
No, he's talking about
No, I didn't say that.
Nothing about creativity.
I said contributory factors.
Please,
The
please.
international-
You see, we lawyers, we know why we say we use the word contributing factors. It's a smart way of saying.
No, this is economics. These are
No,
physics.
This is
but
economics.
you know what economics?
This is
So it's a smart way of saying that, but for.
No, he's saying that.
U.S. economy
No,
or the
he's saying
weakened
that the
dollar.
weakened U.S. economy
What has happened to
has
the naira?
also projected.
What has happened to the
Gentlemen,
naira? How
thank you very
come
much.
naira is not
I want to
doing
hear
well?
So
one
now
person
me,
at
now
the same
me.
time.
Well, there's no
okay,
gold in
The
Nigeria.
points that ABG made, which you corroborated.
Yes.
Even they
just
have
want to
proof.
Yes, exactly. So I want us to put on
quickly.
record that please, that 30 tons, as we started increasing our stock of gold, we printed money, created inflation. The IMF had to stop us.
How much?
Had to stop us. So it came at a cost. If it was good, the IMF wouldn't have stopped us. So you don't say one side and leave the other. Number two, listen, the US currency depreciation, right? Look, it's cyclical. The US currency, you see, it started going up from 2010. So at a point in time, it had to drop. What are some of the factors?
Trump.
One of them is that, listen, people, the US takes a lot of foreign this investment, right? Now, those who invest in the US, they have to take hedges against their US asset exposures. That's one of the things that weaken the currency.
But the
What has Ghana got to do that? What has Ghana? Ghana has no role in that.
Thank you very much. Thank you. You made your point. You see, we all agree that there was a situation which was inherited, which has improved. That
we agree.
it's not contested.
No.
That this
Yes.
1 year on,
We're better off.
we're better off.
Yes.
It is how it all played out which
Exactly.
you all
Yes.
disagree. But
Yes.
then again, the fundamental acknowledgement has to be there. But
We're
then
trying to
that question that you
distribute
asked
gain on other factors.
is what leads us into the next issue of who the NDC is bringing. Nobody, let me just put it on record before we even start, that none of the persons who Musa Dankwa has been putting on his post have come out in any way, shape, or form to say they are interested in contesting as flag bearer for the NDC.
Yeah, agreed.
So it's more of conjecture, speculation.
Not exactly
speculating.
conjecture.
Unless you know something I don't know. but there's something you did that you asked these of almost 13,500 people you polled in all 16 regions, 83 constituencies out of 276, that if elections were held in December 2025, right, with the same candidates, this is the outcome. The almost 13,500 people say they would, 62% of them say they would have voted for John Dramani Mahama, 31% Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and then you see the others as well. That was if elections were held, that's 1 year on. So clearly, the president is still enjoying some level of approval, goodwill, and support. But then, this question that you asked, last week, we analyzed the outcome of the delegates. But this is to the generality of the Ghanaian people, that's the voters.
Correct.
All 13,500 people were eligible voters, correct?
Yes.
Above 18.
Yes.
And this was the outcome. Tell me what we are saying now.
I mean, basically, you wanted to know whether the views of the general public in terms of who should lead NDC reflects those on the delegates.
Right.
So we asked them, who would you prefer? We know they don't vote as Ghanaians. The delegates elect flag bearers. But who would you prefer to lead MPP in the 2028 elections? 55. Yeah. No, this one is public.
Right, good.
55.8 said they would have preferred Bawumia to lead.
55.8.
Yes. And 28.2 said Kennedy Ohene Agyapong. 6.2, Dr. Brian Achampong. 5.5, Dr. Yao Osei Edichum. And 4.3, Engineer Kwabena Agyapong. This is the public decision, not delegate decision.
So, yes, that's how I put that distinction, because last week we spent some time talking about what the delegates
were.
But this is a public decision. Well, your surprise candidate, Dr. Brian Achampong, is in here somewhere.
Sure. And I'm happy that this is an appreciation from the figures of last week. And I'm also happy that the delegates are also thinking differently now. And I'm also privy to recent reports suggesting that the appreciation of votes is so much with Dr. Brian Achampong now than any one of them.
I see.
So I'm very positive that come the end of this month, we'll see the surprise that I talked about last week.
The surprise element Dr. Brian Achampong is bringing into the race.
I talked about last week. And don't forget that last week there were undecided figures, which I aggregated as possibility of gravitating towards Dr. Brian Achampong to show up his figures. And I'm still positive that so will happen, because I see depreciation in the figures of the other two.
The two, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and Kennedy Agyapong.
From one polling that I'm privy to, and all heading towards Dr. Brian Achampong. In fact, the one is not polling per se, it is profiling. We've done some profiling, giving us very comfortable figures. So I'm sure it will translate into the polls, the last polls of my good friend when he comes this week or 2 weeks from now.
True. I was having a conversation.
We've done some profiling.
When you
suggestive of Dr. Brian Achampong winning as a surprise candidate.
As a surprise. So
and I'm very sure that the next results coming from Musa will capture the trend, the new trend.
It will be interesting to see what you're privy to.
But I say something quickly on this poll? Something quickly.
No, I'm not even. I'm going to come to you. I'm only just.
You've had 1 hour.
I'll come to you next. So just to indicate that, sometime within the week when you release this, the conversation was how representative this is, because you have some 13,500.
Delegates.
This was not delegates. This was general
the population.
Yes.
And you have almost some 17 million eligible voters.
18.5 million.
How representative is this?
Look,
going in, if you want to test the pulse of eligible voters in the country.
When people are checking on white
Alfred,
the pig
sampling is by applying a formula to derive the sample. Those who have done statistics and are aware of the sample frame, which is the EC sample frame, 18.5. If they use the formula they were taught in school, they will get figures far lower than what we have done. I don't want to sit here and make another argument. Those making those arguments know the truth. In America, United States of America, they have 161 million voters. The sample size in those countries in America largely exceed 6,000. We are 18.5 million.
Yeah. Polling is a science.
It's a science. It's the way you deploy your sample. Is it proportional to the way people vote in terms of who are on the register?
Okay.
So that you don't skew northeast and give you more votes than Ashanti region. That's where you get
compromises the integrity.
Absolutely.
Of the
so
polls.
I think we've gone beyond the sampling argument. We have even sampled with 2,500 Ghanaian voters who told us that they would vote 54% for Mahama. And he got what? 56 with 2,500.
I see.
How much more 11,000, 13,000?
For as long as it's representative enough.
Absolutely.
And this is from all 16 regions, right?
I'm talking about the profiling.
So profiling and polling are different. They're two different things. That's what we put it. Lloyd Tamaklo, just a quick one, and I'll come to you, Mr. Banton, please. Quick.
On this MPP thing, what I have to say is that, look, the very moment the MPP or the other candidate agreed for the amendment to the MPP constitution to allow for the election of flag bearer before the election of branch, constituency, regional, and national officers, that was the day they all surrendered to Bawumia.
How is that possible?
Look, President Akufo-Addo is a very crafty, smart politician and had built the infrastructure for Bawumia in 2023.
If you say he's built the infrastructure.
Yes, smart guy.
Well,
He's built that infrastructure for him in 2023. So the very moment his other opponents decided that let's allow him to be elected flag bearer before we even do branch, constituency, regional, national elections. That was the day they surrounded the election. And you know why? In 1992, if you recall, we had presidential election before parliamentary. The MPP went out and said this was a clever gerrymandering in the sense that once the people get to know who their president was, it will shape how they will vote parliamentary. And that is why in 1996, they fought so hard to get both presidential and parliamentary to happen the same day. And so if you look, all the political parties from 1992, we organize the branches, do constituency election, do regional election, do constituency before flag bearer. It's the last on the ticket.
Well,
the only reason why this thing happened was a notion of quid pro quo. If you vote for me as flag bearer, I will most likely allow you. Because at this point, if you are a constituency executive and you are a delegate and you are seen openly campaigning for either Brian Achampong, Kenny Japon, right? And now Bawumia wins. Can you go and contest for your constituency election?
Why not?
When everybody now knows that the flag bearer, is the one you campaign against, you are already a traitor.
Well, it's a matter of strategy.
It's a matter of
It's
choice.
no strategy.
This party says
it's a strategy that had worked for Dr. Bawumia.
Get their flag bearer
I agree with him
out
that,
of the way.
It was a
wrong
strategy.
for us
Deal with
to
the
have
rest.
taken that route. I agree with him that it was wrong, but it is not that. It is not that they
Surrounded.
decided. They accepted. It was a proposition that came from the party, and I didn't support it. So many others didn't. But unfortunately, the majority of us thought that in the National Council that should be, and it became.
But
so
you have
it is
reason
that
to disagree.
I totally disagree with it.
Okay.
In fact, I even campaigned against it. But unfortunately, the National Council, that argument won the day.
Right.
And that we have taken that as the route to take. So all of them, they had to surrender to that decision. Nevertheless, it is not by any means a surrender to Dr. Bawumia as the leader. We are going to vote. And like I'm saying, we've done our profiling, we've done our preparation. We are campaigning seriously. And I'm promising you that we'll
There'll
come
be a
here with
surprise.
This
different results.
contest should have been a straight contest.
Round it up for me.
Yeah, let me just round up. This contest, I looked at senior Musa Dankwa's model.
Round it up for me.
If you look at the model he's prepared, very interesting model. But you see, the only way any of them would have any chance, it should have been a two-horse race. Either Bawumia, Ken Ejapon, Bawumia, Brian Achampong. With all the others, all they will do is to split the numbers. Okay. There's no way Danquest's model will fail. I mean,
I see.
I mean, there's no.
Okay. There's no way. That let's come to Mr. Benton.
They
Please.
surrounded everybody.
Thank you very much. See, I sat here and said that we should stop listening.
Gentlemen, please.
We should stop listening to the prophets and be listening more to people like Musa Dankwa. I believe in God and data. I believe in God and data. Information is another thing. How people put the data to get a certain kind of information is a different matter. And polling is a science. The nature of the science is borne out by the outcomes. All right? So you risk your own, situation if you choose not to observe some of these things. And you see, when Eduji and Co get so worked up about somebody's political party, now listen to this. It is not wise to take the advice of the fox when he tells you where to store your chicken.
Look at that.
Are you listening?
It is not wise to take the advice of the
fox when he tells you where to store your chicken.
Because he will go after them.
Why is it that NDC has such a focus on Dr. Bawumia and give all kinds of advice to the effect that, and you've surrendered to Dr. Bawumia, why did you do that? Look, all politics is strategy. All politics is strategy. And when somebody has sat down, look at what happened in the US. In the middle of an election, they put one man down, put another woman there. But for some weird things that happened, that woman ran the best campaign within less than 200 days. Who are you again to be advising MPP, your opponent, where to keep their chickens? And I think there is a certain point that must be appreciated over there. Look, I know my senior is talking about Brian and Co. These are very fine guys. In fact, left to me, and I keep telling people, I'm not an MPP member. Some of these people should have paired up. I have a right to be a member of anything.
Okay.
So
I choose who to. Please. Some of these people should have fine gentlemen. Okay.
I mean, Kennedy Japan, Brian Champon.
No, I mean Dr. Bawumia. You look at Engineer Kwabena, Japan. Brian Champon. Kennedy, Yao Duchum. But see, I won't go into some other things. Of this group, who doubts in their right analysis that Dr. Bawumia is head and shoulders above all of them for many different reasons. And this is a man who has managed to be head and shoulders above all of them after being 20 years in the front line of Ghana's politics, to the point of being vice president for 8 years in a government that many people think is one of the most unpopular in the Fourth Republic. You need to appreciate that in perspective, that a man stays in the front for about 20 years, manages to be who he has been for 20 years, okay? Manages to be part of the government which was just voted out, okay? And still is the most popular. It should tell you something about the quality of that man.
Let's look at it this way. You talked about the 20-year, period that Dr. Bawumia has been in the politics of this country. Popularity against viability. The popularity of the candidate you see, but how does that translate into the viability of the candidate?
In this case,
within this, he has
in this
done
case, the viability
year.
is what is leading to the popularity. Let me explain. If any of the other gentlemen are put to the test, the kind of fire that Dr. Bawumia has been subjected to, the close scrutiny, the man just went through an election where every aspect of him, including the dressing of his wife, was put under intense light. And he comes out. No.
All our candidates
please. Energy, you are hearing me.
No,
let me finish my point.
It's not unique.
You see, he doesn't want me to make my point.
It's not unique.
I am saying, if any of these fine gentlemen, okay, were put under the same intense scrutiny, all right, they will not come out like Dr. Bawumia has come out. And let me tell you something. Dr. Bawumia is not so much everybody's emotional, intense favorite. He just tends to be the person who they know is the best horse for this race. Look, I can tell you that there are people who love Kennedy Japan more than Dr. Bawumia. They believe in his style and his brashness, but when they sit and they think, they know this man is a can-do man, is this and that and all those other things, but he will not win as the presidency. There are people who like Brian Champon for whatever it is. But are you sure that if they scrutinize this man the way Dr. Bawumia has been scrutinized, will he stand? Dr. Duchum, Okay, there are cases, Oral and Co. are checking on him. It doesn't mean he's guilty, all right? But he's under scrutiny. We don't know what will come out of it. Look at Kwabena Japan. There is almost nobody who has anything against
Gentlemen.
There is almost nobody who has anything against Kwabena Japan. In fact, what I have heard is that people are saying Kwabena Japan shouldn't have been running, he should have been helping Dr. Bawumia. My point is, if you weigh all of them...
Or she should be helping Brian Champo.
Well, yes, however. But you see, the point is that Kwabena Japan is one of the most popular politicians in MPP today. But the question is whether he will be a viable presidential candidate. So the answer to your question directly is that of the lot, the one who is the most viable in terms of presidential candidate. Let me finish my point.
Make the point, Bawumia is the most popular. It's popularity, acceptability.
Thank you.
Do you record popularity?
So when you boil them all down,
what are we talking about?
The viability of all these people is many levels below Dr. Bawumia, and the best test of it is the performance that you saw in the last election, which wasn't good per se, okay, but under the circumstance, okay, was the best MPP could have gotten. And in the next run, you will see when Dr. Bawumia comes into his own. So please don't take the advice of the foxes when they tell you where to keep your chicken.
So can I come in? Can I ask a simple question? Alfred, can I ask a simple question? Is popularity the same as acceptability?
When you look, because you say you're going to deal with data, and you like data.
Yes.
You believe data.
in God and data.
In fact, he was
What will play out in subsequent slides also brings up some other dimensions of the conversation as to. That's why I asked the question about the popularity juxtaposed with the viability of the candidate. How about the people? Just a quick one.
Yeah, so on this thing, just as Kofi said that they are scrutinizing Brian, okay, right? It's the same. Bawumia is also under scrutiny for his role in the previous administration.
I see.
There are corruption cases against
what have you found?
Iyoko, you know, let's be very clear, one of the persons before court, the case is that the loot probably went to Bawumia's campaign.
Please, that's a bad allegation.
Iyoko, we can ask Iyoko, we can do right information.
If anybody comes to
Bawumia
speak,
has been attending
that's
Iyoko
a
or
very
not.
bad
Has Bawumia been attending Iyoko or not? Every time you see one of the accused persons, the money, follow the money.
What happens?
Yes.
You said it's Iyoko is investigating.
Yes, Bawumia is under investigation. For receiving part of the loot in one of the cases.
But that is an investigation which we are not privy to.
Yes, but
right?
you are
until then, we cannot associate ourselves with
and
this.
I've even said it, so it has come out.
We can.
I pray that we relax them, because there was another assassin
from that
attributed to investigations going
on. I just wanted it to be clear
with Dr.
to the extent that is not out.
And equally, this
you
one,
are privy to it.
Yes.
We don't know.
But I can also blow a whistle if I've heard it. I can also blow
the same way that I'm suggesting that we draw.
NDC people under investigation.
Yes.
So there are NDC people under investigation today.
That's why I said
so please,
to the
don't go
extent
there. The man has been scrutiny for 20 years.
Let's move on.
No, let's stay focused.
It's also very important. No, it's equally important.
I like that.
It's ADG, the Caesar's wife's test.
Yeah.
Why would you even allow, what did you do to allow this rumor to even come? And
we all say that any fool can go to court. Any fool can make an allegation.
Calm down.
The same way that
Gentlemen,
I wanted
I have
to
said
drop
that.
allegation
Thank you very
against
much.
Dr. Aduchu.
I think that matter
Exactly,
hearing
yes.
settled.
Oh,
we are
Thank
not
you.
drunk. If they are going to Yoko, they are going to Yoko. There's nothing.
But that is not the subject of the discussion. That is not the subject of discussion.
Okay, yes. So
But Martin, you know you agitate senior bring Bawumia into the government.
Yes,
Stop agitating.
So my lawyer says Bawumia is the most.
Wait. Lawyer Martin Kpebu is speaking.
Okay, thank you.
I raised some contentions with the earlier point.
Yes.
Having settled that, let's move on.
Okay.
Wait.
Yeah, so looking at all the candidates, you see, listen, this thing, you know, I've said it time ad nauseam that this whole range of candidates, it tells me one thing, that the MPP is not ready for the 2028 elections. They are not ready. There is a tone-deaf attitude that got them into opposition in the first place. How can you parade Bawumia? Bawumia, who is a feather with a Akufo-Addo, we said the basic, birds of a feather flock together Bawumia is a Kufuor. Bawumia is a Kufuor. Bawumia, how is he going to fly? Remember, you see, do this mathematics. You see, it's easy this way. NDC, MPP have a certain constant, right? Until the 2024 elections, the general wisdom was that it's 45-45. That's 45% for NDC, 45 for MPP. But Bawumia performed so shambolically that even MPP members had to vote for JM, right? Such a man who helped Akufo-Addo to unleash terror on us, economic doldrum, right? Haircuts, left, right, center. Why is he going to get a better record to campaign? You have to bring somebody who is not tainted. Somebody who is not, and then when it comes to Kennedy Agyapong, he lacks the temperament and everything to be president, so we'll not waste any more time on that. Brian Agyapong who wanted to take our hotels for a song. Brian Agyapong wanted to take our hotels for a song, but for the leadership of Okudzeto, who mobilized Ghanaians.
And do you know what is happening now?
For a song.
Do you know when Slate came to Public Accounts Committee, they are saying that even they are looking for somebody to invest in that company.
Yes, but it's not the same as take it for a song.
Your beef is that it is a Ghanaian that will apply.
Hold on.
He will look as dry. We will not make that.
You want to entertain all the other candidates.
You want to entertain a foreigner to come and
he will look as dry. Brian Agyapong will look as dry. In any event, come on, but it's so laughable. That's why I say MPP is not ready for 2028. Listen, you want a candidate. Educhum doesn't have the charisma. You see, he doesn't have the charisma.
Is that all you look out for in a leader?
No, it's also very important. Very, very important. He doesn't have the charisma for presidency. He's a good guy, right? Oh, I've seen him once or twice. That's it. But when you're looking for a president, there's that spark. There's something. He hasn't postured, you see, as somebody who can be father of the nation. No. Kwabena Agyapong, I have nothing to say that
for
particularly.
Me, the best
it's just that it's not, you see, his time is gone. His time is gone, you see. And when I say that, the reason Kwabena Agyapong, I say his time is gone is that for 2028, no, he cannot win. And so the real game is for 2032. That's why I keep saying that. So they should bring the youngster, bring Buama, you see, Patrick Buama, so that he will contest 2028, lose, and then by 32, everybody say, yes, now he's right. That's the game. 2028,
right. That's your recommendation.
Yes, Buama.
Is your view.
Yes.
Support him to come.
Okay.
So Bawumia, bringing Bawumia for 2028 is like, it means MPP is dashing NDC the
what about it being a strategy by the MPP?
You have your view. Okay, and that remains your view, just as everyone else on the table have their view.
Alfred,
how does that reflect on the views of the people
Let him do
that have been captured in here? Well, this is it. And you asked this question about who leads the NDC.
Oh, no,
he says it's premature. But then again, as I indicated, all these people have not in any way come out to declare their intentions of whether or not they want to lead the NDC. So why are you doing this?
Alfred, who else will lead NDC outside this group?
You're asking who else will lead?
Which MC? Which MC? Which CEO? Which CEO will lead NDC outside this group?
This analysis is completely premature.
Actually, well, why do you think there wouldn't be any other outside of this group?
But this is the result of a pool.
To be a leader in this country, you can't come from the back and lead the country.
Yes.
Absolutely not. Nobody that is unknown to the public can somehow catapult himself to lead
into leadership.
It won't happen.
Yeah. And again, I'm very satisfied.
Thank you. I'll come to you. No, you're not on yet.
Okay.
This is it. You say that based on your argument,
yes,
and the information you say you are privy to, these are the persons who have not come out to declare, but you are using them for your test samples. Haruna Iddrisu, Dr. Kasila Atuforsin, Johnson Siedun Ketia, Professor Jenano Opoku-Agyeman. On your previous post, she was not in there.
And this guy took me to the cleanest. Zatu.
Yes. So now you have amended. You have added her.
Yes.
Julius Deborah, Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa, Professor Joshua Alabi, and then Eric Opoku.
Yes.
They are great minister.
Yes.
And this was the outcome.
This is the outcome from the general populace of this country.
Let's then put Edudzi and John Dumelo.
No, put it
You have Haruna Iddrisu on 26%. Atuforsin on 23%.
Yes.
Asiedu Nketia on 22%. Professor Jenano Opoku 11%. Honorable Julius Deborah 7%. Honorable Ablakwa 6%. Professor Joshua Alabi 3%. Honorable Eric Opoku 2%.
If anyone emerges outside of this group, would that be a surprise to you?
It will not happen.
How do you say this so emphatically?
Look, not everything that I do that I put out. We have a lot of data we don't put out there in public. We know what we are doing. Nobody will come outside this group to lead NDC.
But the numbers can change.
Definitely.
Will change.
And I want the numbers also change.
The numbers will change. The numbers will change.
Yes.
But the faces,
Because
some may even completely drop
I'm
off.
disappointed with some of the numbers you put down there.
But then you go ahead to do this head-to-head
Yes.
of, the top 3 or 4 persons you pick from here.
Yeah.
That assuming it is Haruna Iddrisu against Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, if elections were held within that period they did this poll, which was in December last year, 2025, this would have been the outcome. Meaning that the goodwill that John Mahama is enjoying is rubbing off all these persons that you put out. 56% Haruna Iddrisu as against Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, 40%. Dr. Kasila Atuforsin, 58% as against Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, 38% if elections were held in December. That's interesting.
Why the difference?
Why the difference?
Demography. When you put Haruna Iddrisu against Dr. Bawumia, the accounts don't have their favorite. You see the accounts sitting on the fence. Some will not vote.
I see.
When you throw in Atuforsin, then they come out.
That's what led to the increase.
The changes you are seeing there.
And then you go to
Asiedu Nketia. Yes. He is performing far worse than Atuforsin and Haruna Iddrisu compared to against Bawumia. For that race, it is much tighter for NDC if it is Mosquito against Bawumia. 10 points here instead of maybe 12 or 13.
And then you do Julius Deborah.
The same thing. He is on the same level as Mosquito, slightly. And this is against
Kennedy Agyapong.
Put him against Dr. Bawumia.
We'll put that up.
We'll come there. So against Kennedy, Deborah is 53, and Kennedy is 51. You put Haruna Iddrisu against Kennedy, Haruna goes 61%, and Kennedy goes to 34%. You know why?
Tell me.
In a race in the north where DMB is not a ticket, the entire northern bloc protest against MPP, and they go to Haruna Iddrisu.
I see. Protest vote.
The entire northern sector, northern votes.
Because Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's
Absolutely.
footprints in the
It's
northern
north.
Ghana is not without the.
Yes.
Then you see
Here, the same effect, but then the accounts again come out a lot more when it is Atu than when it is Haruna Iddrisu in the southern part. But they retain the northern sector because Bawumia again is not in the ticket. On the ticket. When you put Asiedu Nketia, he goes up compared to Bawumia. But then Kennedy also does worse compared to Bawumia against Mosquito.
Interesting. Then you see it. But, you know, in the next 28 days, the MPP would have crossed this hurdle of who is going to be leading the party into 2028. It will then be the NDC also having to carry their own.
With Dr. Brian Champon as contesting on our ticket. Do that and let's see the difference. The same
There's a trend. There's a trend. It doesn't have to do
Okay, the same
You answer that question.
trend.
Yes. Why are you not
We have a
using...
criteria. If you're not crossing a threshold, we
Right.
will not use you as a head-to-head.
Wait till 31st and you see him cross the
After 31st, he will do it.
So we'll see. And the same demographic factors will work for Dr. Brian Champon, as you suggested, because it is not just only in the Akan, but Akan with some constituency within the Akan region will make a difference.
You are very popular.
Okay.
You go.
Well, thank you. That's your view on this. So in 28 days, we'll see the picture will be clear. But then
If
for the
Martin is contested, then I will go.
they'll have a lot more to also deal with and think about going forward. You have put your neck on the chopping board on this.
But these numbers will change. And there's a crucial thing that I think should be said. The power of incumbency gives every NDC candidate a 30% lead immediately. All right?
Right.
Anybody the NDC puts up has a 30% going for them already because of the goodwill that President Mahama is banking for them.
And if
That
he
is
continues,
now. That is
For now,
around this
that is
period.
one.
and
Yeah.
if he continues,
And that's where I'm going. So that is now. There's 3 years to come. And these 3 years are going to be the tests. The spending will start, the jockeying will start, okay? The scandals will come up. They are cooking them right now, all right? And then you have a situation where...
How do you know
I know.
scandals are being put?
I know. You hear some.
check
They are
from
busy right now cooking
check from
scandals.
Ora.
Relax, let me finish.
I
See,
see.
and then you have a situation where they are changing horse. President Mahama is not on the ballot. President Mahama has been at the front of Ghana's politics for the past 40 or so years, 30 at least, all right? Has been tested left, right, and center, and is right now on top. None of these gentlemen have gone through that, okay? So when those chips are down, when you go to the market and you see a hen or a chicken, okay, the feathers are on that chicken. So you may see a big hen or chicken. When you come home and you put the water on them and you plug them, you will see their real weight. Now, let me explain why I'm using that analogy. Dr. Bawumia is like a chicken whose feathers have been plucked. What you are seeing there is the real weight of the man at his lowest. This man has just suffered a very terrible election defeat, and he manages to retain that level of performance in the face of the most popular government in the last 30 or so years of this government. So one of them is a chicken with all their feathers, and the other one has been plucked clean, and that is their weight. So when these things come together and the power of incumbency is shelved because President Mahama is dropping off, and these new gentlemen, and by the way, when you take Haruna and the list that they showed there, I am sure, and I've told somebody, one of them will be president in my lifetime, maybe 2. So I'm not saying they are all bad candidates.
I mean, all these persons.
These people there are 2 people there. Okay? If Martin reminds me, I'll tell him later. 2 people who will be president in my lifetime in NDC. So they are very good candidates, only 2.
Only
all right?
2 out of the what?
Only 2 out of this lot.
Nine-
Not next
nine
time.
of them.
Yeah, not the next time, but 2 of them will be president in my lifetime. God help me. Now, so my point is, they are very good candidates. But the dynamics, what Musa is putting here is correct today. But he will tell you, all these elements will change. 1, because President Mahama is no longer going to run. That incumbency thing will shave down. 2, when you pluck a chicken, you will know their real weight. These people are gaining a 30% right just by NDC. Anybody they put on NDC will get this one. On the other hand, you are looking at a man in Bawumia who has been tested for 20 years, under scrutiny for 20 years, suffered a massive election defeat, and still retains the level of popularity he retains. That is the plucked chicken. That is his real weight. We'll see in time.
Well, thank you. Chairman Claude, you see, the incumbency advantage or disadvantage, you put it at 30%.
It's also coming up.
Today is 30%.
Today is
In the years to come,
is
in the years to come,
how
depending
things
on
play
how
out.
the government
The
performs.
economy and all of that,
how
which
the
is going to be a
government
very
performs.
major determinant
You see,
on this.
How the individuals
Thank you.
also carry themselves.
Thank you very much. Yes.
You see, all the people who Musa Dankwa had put their beautiful pictures there, all of them will beat anybody MPP will present.
Today.
Fact. But the question is,
You mean all these people?
all these people,
And he adds a word for you
in fact,
today.
including me. But
That today is very important.
calm down. But you see, for me, the critical question is, NDC politics is a timing politics.
Timing.
Timing.
Which one is not?
And so if you miss the timing conversation in NDC, you are gone. Check from 1992. One misstep, you are gone. And you are gone for good. One misstep.
Unless you are
gone,
President Mahama. You want
and
to
you
go
are
for
gone.
good.
And he bid his time. And time made the difference for him. Quintessential. You hardly get that, a person who got the timing right. That's him. Uniquely so. We have seen, growing up, people who had all kinds of ambitions in our party, and later it became a very serious one. So it's good Musa Dankwa is doing his work, but I can tell you that it's completely premature. Completely premature, because where I sit and what I see, possibly just one word from the mouth of President Mahama can change all the dynamics. What about that? Our party, if you recall, there were many who were on their flinches. It took one Swedro declaration to change the dynamics of everything. That's the NDC for you. Our party hardly sticks to models. The NDC is a very unique political party. And so, yes, Musa Dankwa is an accomplished pollster. He's done this not only in Ghana, he's done this not only for politics, but even for private organizations. He pulls beautiful numbers for private organizations, and I respect him a great deal. But I'm saying that the conversation about NDC flag bearership today is a very premature conversation, and I do not have the competence to tell him not to. What I can urge our party supporters is that we have governance ahead of us. The expectation of the people of Ghana is to deliver on the social contract that President Mahama and the NDC signed with them on the 7th day of December 2024. That is their only legitimate expectation of us. When the time comes, and per the NDC constitution, this whole year we dedicate it to reorganizing the party.
I see.
We'll do our branch elections, constituency election, regional election, national election. Per the party constitution, when we are in government, we have 24 months within to elect. When we are in opposition, 24 months to do that, so you can have enough time. But when we are in government, there's not much urgency.
That's 12 months.
12 months is enough for us to do.
So you want to worry about this in 2027?
Because the point is, if we don't deliver, putting anybody on it. And President Mahama has this analogy he used to make. He said, if the horse is not healthy, the person who mounts the horse is irrelevant. Get a healthy horse, and the person who mounts it only do just an additional work. And so at this point, how do you get the NDC as a political party to be healthy for a future election? But delivering, by working on the expectation of the people of this country. That, for me, is what is important. Once you do that, all other things will fall in place. We will win the 2028 election. That, for me, is the most important thing. And that should be the modeling that Musa Danquah should be putting up.
Well, there is a caution that your General Secretary, Fifi Kwete, put out this week, that there are some elements in the party who are pushing this agenda of a third term for the President, John Dramani Mahama, even though the President himself has stated that he is not interested. And in fact, the Constitutional Review Committee says it never came up as a topic. But this is Fifi Kwete earlier in the week. And I'll ask you what exactly is going on, reason why he came out to make this public statement of caution to people in the party who are doing this. Take a look.
These days, it saddens me when I see so much sycophancy creeping into our party. I see a group of people who obviously, from every indication, they believe that singing the praises of a leader is the only way they can survive. And that's why you hear some of those people even urging statements like there should be a third term. It's just nothing but sycophancy. Pure sycophancy and bootlicking of the highest order. Jerry Rawlings, who was the founder of this party, never at any point was urged by anybody to go for any third term. And you have a bunch of sycophants who today think that all they need to do is to sing praises and hoping that somehow those praises will get them some opportunities that they are looking for. You don't love our country. You don't love our party. If you do, you will know besides sycophants.
That's the General Secretary of the party, Fifi Kwete. Now, Mr. Danquah, you have to leave us now. We have dealt with the issues in your poll. So thank you.
It's my pleasure.
Happy New Year to you.
Same to you.
I know that within the week you're bringing out something else again.
No, I'm hiding it.
For weekly. You are doing the weekly poll.
We're not putting it out there. We don't want the pressure to be too much. So
no, but we can
it.
talk on the side. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate you coming through.
Pleasure.
Have a good one. Who?
Dr. Brian Champong.
Dr. Brian Champong. So we will see. We will see. I think it's one that he will consider as well. Mr. Dawanklo, this statement by the General Secretary of your party, what is going on?
Okay. So we take this one off.
Yes, please.
Yes. This matter, maybe I'll be like Pontius Pilate in this matter. But my General Secretary and my senior brother, the Honorable Fifi Kwete, has never shied away from public comments, particularly those that usually don't rap very well with everybody.
That's right.
I remember last year an incident which happened. So we have had this NDC lawyers conference in Kumasi.
True.
And as the General Secretary of our party, we invited him, invited the national chairman, and some very prominent party members as well. And I remember in that meeting, my General Secretary sat by myself. In fact, he was in the middle of myself and the Attorney General, Dr. Yeni. So he was giving the mic to share a few words with us. After he finished delivering his speech, I told him that, senior brother, next time I think I have to get you a written speech so that I will edit it before I give you the mic.
When he said there are some NDC lawyers who are cutting deals.
You remember that speech. And it became more of an albatross on, the party, and it was something. So on one of our platforms, when the issue came up, I said, look, if I knew that this is what my General Secretary was going to say, and that there was dynamite in the speech, I would have taken the mic from him. But that's my General Secretary, Fifi Kwete. He's never shied away. And he's always taken a gatekeeping role, even for the party. I want to believe that whatever it is that he said it in good faith, mindful of the fact that for a political party, there are shades of opinion. You see, the D in the NDC is democratic. Even in democracies, people are permitted to be mad.
Okay.
To express views that are completely extreme, sometimes even reckless. Permissible in democratic societies. The question is, could that same sentiment be expressed maybe differently, or a different forum, or possibly in-house? That possibility also exists. But you see, in all of this, the most important thing for me is, at the end, who is this thing about? It's about the personality and everything that President John Dramani Mahama has worked for. Starting as a member of parliament, January 7th, 1997, having become deputy minister, subsequently becoming a minister, becoming the ranking on foreign affairs for many years, becoming the flag bearer in the running mate in 2008, subsequently becoming president in July 2012, becoming president again, 8 years in opposition, finally president again. I do not know any living Ghanaian today with that level of experience, with that level of blessings from the Almighty God. It's important to say that in the next 100 years, only 25 Ghanaians out of 34 million will become president. And that even means that they are doing only 4 years, 4 years. The more they do 8 years, the fewer the number that can ascend that hallowed office of president. And that is a unique thing that President Mahama comes to. You see, I always say that President Mahama, maybe arguably you call him a political Maradona. He knows some of these sentiments and clamoring will come up in political space, especially looking at his performance. So very early in the year, he's put out what his position is on the matter. He didn't only say it, he went to Singapore also, where he made the point. He said, look, I'm doing my 2 terms, and I'll go back to either Busunu or whatever to go and do my farming. He's put stop to everything. That is how quintessential he is. Smart. Because, look, when you have a high performer like President Mahama, you expect people to express this kind of sentiments. You can't take it away from people. In fact, nothing precludes people from having wild imaginations, including saying that, oh, a 3rd term is a possibility. Look, in the US now, Donald Trump openly said the questions about a 3rd term. And in fact, this constitutional lawyer in the US, Alan Dichowski or something, even went to the Dershowitz or something. Dershowitz made the point that the question whether a president who had had 1 term interrupted can do is a matter that the US Supreme Court has not had the opportunity of examining. And
he's a Trump supporter, please.
Very well. Yes. But I'm saying that at least even in mighty United States of America, 250 years, these conversations are very ripe even in the most advanced democracies. And so it shouldn't be anything different, especially so when we have handled this constitutional democracy for barely 70 years from independence, compared to 250 years. These issues will come up. These issues will come up. But what for me is critical is that the boss, the commander-in-chief, the leader of the NDC has already put out his position in the matter.
And finished.
President Mahama is not a flip-flopper. It's not like some of the leaders we've had in the past without mentioning it. His yes is his yes, his no is his no. President Mahama is not the type who will be having a few moments later, like the Gen Zs now do, you know, where you say one thing and tomorrow you are saying another thing. He's made it clear. And you see,
trying to do that, it is finished.
He's a very smart, I'm just rounding up, very smart at that, because he realized that as human as we are, people will come out with these views. And so he had to put stop to the clamoring right from the beginning and stated his position that what he needs now is a legacy mandate and to serve the people of this country to the best of his ability. Our General Secretary, possibly for want of a better word, could have expressed that same view, maybe differently. The concern people have possibly may do with the name calling. That in a democratic space, most likely you have people express their views. Does it necessarily make them maybe sycophants? Does it necessarily make them bootlickers? Maybe these are very genuine. And those people may not have any direct benefits, either by way of appointment or anything. But these are genuine sentiments on their part that, hey, we wish there's that continuity. But the president himself says, look, I have been the forefront of ensuring peace, stability within the West African space.
Yes.
Look, as we speak, all ECOWAS leaders have actually voted that in 2027, when the AU chairmanship becomes vacant, the entire West African sub-region is voting for only him to take that chairmanship. That overwhelming sense of confidence from his peers is not something that you readily get, but his stellar leadership qualities that has endeared him to the people. So, fair enough, our General Secretary has made a point, but the one who has the final say is President John Dramani Mahama, and he's made it abundantly clear that he has no interest. If you recall, when H. Kwesi Prempeh submitted the committee's report to him, H. Kwesi Prempeh said something quite profound on the issue of the third term. And that for me is significant. And President Mahama was smiling when he said it, clearly showing that he has no interest whatsoever in that conversation. That ends it.
Well, let me acknowledge the presence of Professor Bafo Agyeman-Duah. He is a senior, a former senior governance advisor to the United Nations, and then also a governance expert. Professor Bafo Agyeman-Duah, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Perfect. Now, this matter of the third term, Bento, yes, the Constitutional Review Committee indicated it never came up. But then you hear the General Secretary of the ruling party being strong in his words on it.
Yes.
On the celebration of the 31st December and cautioning members within the party to desist from doing so, even though the person whom they're even advocating to has openly said he's not interested.
So, there are a number of things we need to clear on this matter. Number one, I think the Constitutional Review Commission was articulating the sentiments of the general or average Ghanaian by saying, please, this matter is not even up for discussion. But they were being presumptuous in that sense. They were acting as real neutrals, you know, trying to articulate the general view. But that argument is not over in NDC.
It's not over?
It is not at all over in NDC. Listen. So you have Fikwe to take a position because he wants to create a dam. He wants to block off something from becoming, too big. All right? And I appreciate his point. But the reason why he has to use that level of force is because he appreciates the nature of the sentiment and how strong it is. Okay? People like Hidiji and Co will tell you that, President Mahama himself has said that he will not, do this. Let me tell you something.
But the matter has been put to rest.
Yes, he said that's why I'm coming to the next point. Mm-hmm. When it comes to third terms, everywhere in the world except Donald Trump, every president will say, I'm not going to go for it. Check. Recently, Mamadi Doumbouya, Guinea, he overthrew a president and vowed to his people that he will not run for president. Guess what happened? He resigned, ran for president, then, sacked other people, and then he got like 90% of the vote or so. Okay, this is the normal. You see, history is important. It's very important. So when you check the history of these things, even Kagame, who everybody expected was going to run for a third term, never really conceded on that till the very last minute. So the point I'm making is this one: that argument, that issue, that proposition, that debate is not over in NDC. There are people who are vowing. In fact, one of them told me that as long as there is a pathway within the law.
But
listen,
I see. Conclude.
As long as there is a pathway within the law for a president to run for a third term, they will do it. What it meant is that if you can amend the constitution for a president to run for a third term, then they will attempt it. And that they have please listen. No, follow me.
An amendment.
Is there really a path?
So that's what I'm explaining. It says as long as. So question, is there a path? Yes. The path is an amendment of the constitution. An amendment of the constitution is not impossible when NDC has an overriding majority. Today, let me tell you something. The only person who can kill this matter is President Mahama. And unfortunately, I'm saying that even what he says now, except for the fact that I trust him as a person, his utterances now, given history, cannot be taken too serious because everyone comes and says no. If today, behind the scenes, President Mahama sets in place a system to have the constitution amended, they have what it takes to amend it. So to the extent that there are some people in NDC who are saying today that if there is a pathway to a third term, then they will attempt it. Trust me, that conversation is not over. So what we all have to do, Prof, you are here, is to send that subtle, and I say subtle because you can't force him, message to the president and also to NDC that look, Ghanaians have become very politically sophisticated. We have in 30 years become a mature democracy, which happens after many, many years. But in Ghana, we've become very mature. Let me give you an example. MPP used to have what they call, I don't want to use those words, but MPP members were not as loyal because they seemed to be the more enlightened people. They will speak their mind and they will vote how they want. It was a problem. Okay? And that is why you had the kind of election result you had today where MPP people abandoned their party because they were upset. It didn't used to be like that for NDC. Okay? Today, that thing has shifted. Those enlightened people have moved to NDC. What it tells you is that you don't have that mass of people who just do what you want, regardless. The kind of popularity that Jerry Rawlings had is not the kind of popularity that NDC is having right now. Now, if you have that situation, therefore, and you make some of these tactical mistakes of attempting a third term, you will lose the hearts of people. I speak as a Ghanaian. If I was speaking as an MPP member, I would advise President Mahama to try a third term.
Wow.
Because it will lose him such popularity. And it will damage the NDC because the nature of the NDC support has shifted. It's mine.
The man says,
let me finish my point.
From this advice.
I'm making my point. I repeat. I speak as a Ghanaian to say, given the kind of legacy President Mahama has built, okay, he should stick to what he said. But if I wanted something else, I would have advised him to try a third term because it will cause him a lot of collateral damage. Because the nature of the public, or the populace, or the voting public in Ghana has changed. A third term is extremely unpopular.
And that sentiment it sort of complements what the president himself has stated. And that's what Duju was talking about, that to the extent that the president has made this statement, in his view, it must bring the matter to
But bring the historical,
but then you bring the
reflection to it, yes.
to it.
It always happens.
But people, you had indicated that you had indicated that
always happens.
That if for you, even this proposal of a 4-year increase to 5 years was an indirect third term being introduced or being proposed for that matter. Why is that?
Yes, so you see, right now the constitution is clear, right? We do 4 years, maximum 2 terms for a president. So for the committee to suggest that we should increase the 4-year term to 5 years, if you add the 1 year increment in each case, you get 2. So that's an indirect third term. It's giving you 2.5 terms. That's why I say it's an indirect third term. And so that's how come, you know, a lot of Gen Zs on the net, etc., have come out strongly that they will not countenance that. Like we keep saying popularly, can you imagine the Akufo-Addo in government for 10 years? Would have been dead by now. And don't think that Akufo-Addo is only one of his kind. Look at Bawumia lacing his boot to become president. Can you imagine Bawumia president of Ghana for 10 years? Yes, we'll be dead. Exactly. So please. Exactly. We will not make any mistake. Bawumia, president of Ghana for 10 years, this country will be Scotch F policy. Everybody will be dead. So please, let's not play with this. The recent governance of Akufo-Addo is a sharp reminder that don't do anything to this 4-year term. Don't do anything. You always find wolves who will come in sheep clothing, all right, or in a sheep's wool. Wolves will always come to governors, okay, in sheep's clothing. Then once they get in there, they will show their real character. Always remember, these people we are parading. As I've said, just because, no court of law has convicted any of the candidates, we can't say a lot of things. But things happen, and I'm sure we all know privately the bad things a lot of these guys that want to be president have done. And so it's an indication that when they get to that office, we'll be dead. So please, don't try anything. 4 years is 4 years. If you are good, look, after the 4 years, Ghanaians will say, look, we should find some space for you in this country to continue to help. To continue to help. And I've heard arguments that we need 1 year. Yes, I think last week, Apia Kubi was making that point about you need time to form a government. Look, our history says, and even before our history, the Supreme Court says that when you appoint a minister, the person should start acting. That's the case of J.H. Mensah versus Attorney General. Says he should start acting until Parliament is ready to invite him to come for vetting, right? So what is this need for? You need about 1 year to form a government. When Akufo-Addo came, didn't he announce his ministers within 2-3 days? Let's check. 2017. You see, he came quickly with the list. We've soon forgotten about that, and now we are clamoring for 1 year for appointments and then another year for campaign. It's neither here nor there. We are very clear. Let's go back to our history in the Constituent Assembly. When they were going to adopt the 92 Constitution, there was a vote on this 5-year term. And like we said last week, the 5-year term was roundly defeated, 128 votes against 85. Then number 2, when Fiadio's commission also sat, the feedback they got was that no way for 5-year term. It should be 4 years. And that whilst you are in opposition campaigning to become president, at that time you should know who you want to appoint as your ministers. So if you cannot do multitasking, then such a person is not even fit for president. If you can't do multitasking, we all multitask in life. So whilst campaigning, you should also select your ministers, etc. So the moment you win and you are sworn in, you announce them straight. We can't say come and sit in office and undo kukwasa for 1 year to go. Please, that's not on. Mr. Okan says, is that it? Do I have another minute?
No, so you've made the point on that. I don't want to bring in Prof. Abafo here on this as to whether this Martin Pebbles' position on this proposal of the 4 years increased to 5 years, he says it's an indirect third term being introduced. And the sentiments around the third term conversation where Mr. Kofi Bento and lawyer Eduji Tamaklo as well referenced the president's position on this matter and what some persons within the party are also saying, which indeed got Fifi Kwete, the general secretary of the party, to have to come out to address this publicly.
Well, thank you. First of all, term limitation in democratic governance is not magical. As to whether you do 4, 5, 6, it's not magical. One may want to explore the history behind why countries choose to place some limitation and how long, how many years they do. For instance, Liberia has 6 years, and I was there with them for 6 years, saw 2 of their elections when I worked with the UN. You can go in to find out why 6 years. France used to have 7 years, right? In fact, Britain has nothing at all. So far as your party wins the support of the public, no limitations. So Tony Blair could be there 13 or 14 years forever. So for me, I don't particularly stick to any particular thing. But I can also appreciate our recent history that is making some people resistant to that. But you see, you don't make laws on the basis of one individual's behavior. That's one I think you, the lawyers, can confirm that. You don't.
Ad hominem.
Yeah. You see, so if we are so angry with the past president for whatever he did, we should not use that as a yardstick to judge ourselves into the future.
That we are close to Martin.
You know, that I think is important for us to consider. The argument of he needs time to adjust and all, it may be interesting, but it's not strong. It's not strong, but it's very interesting. But I also want to say that if you are lucky to get the person you love, the person who is good, let me put it that way, as a leader, and that is why the clamoring for the third term seems to be seeping into our conversations. Because people at this point believe that the president has done very well and therefore deserves. Even though 3 more years, we don't know what's going to happen. And I pray he sticks to the path he's chosen. Because that would be good for all of us as a people, as a country. But again, I'm not going to look at that and say, let's give him an extra term. But I want to say that in very precise terms, the president has been very clear on that. And I do know the hypocrisy of politicians across Africa and elsewhere. Even if the United States is now talking about the third term, that's also interesting. But we are not going to use that to guide our decisions in this country. Just a little advice from there. So, in effect, personally, it doesn't matter to me whether it goes to 5 or stays at the 4. But my personal preference will be the 5, and I have a reason for that.
Why is that?
If you take that in isolation, then you are facing the possibility of dangers, as my good friend has said. But you see, that proposal did not come in isolation. It came within a larger context. One, the fear that presidents become obnoxious or they become, what are the words? They become capricious, they
unleash terror.
Yeah, and all. Those fears have been mitigated by other proposals in the report, such as delimiting the powers of the president. Okay? Now, certain critical appointments that have been decisive in people's opinions about abuses and all, those powers seem to be going to be limited by the new proposal.
True.
Because if you change the appointments of these key positions, then certainly the president no longer will be the sole person to appoint the chief justice, the electoral commission, and all these other positions that we talk about. So I think we should take this proposal in a larger context. But as I say, I'm acutely aware of the arguments that you need a time. But as I say, that's not important. So frankly, I don't have a very strong position. I do not have a strong position whether to go to 4 or 5. But either way, it's fine for me.
I see, but there was a point that, I mean, the former President Kufuor made that proposal.
Yeah, in his last
thought
statement to the people when he was leaving office. It's true. He did make that, because for him, being there for 8 years, he felt strongly that it may not be fair for some other presidents to come in and quickly have to do this. So he thinks you take the first year to settle. 2 years, you're seriously pursuing your agenda. After the third year, you're looking to the elections. And therefore, the attention and energy, everything is diverted to that. I think that was the essence of his argument on that. But as I say, that argument can be deflated by other forces that all of us are aware. So it's not me.
Just on that alone, the 4 or 5 years, like Prof has just said, there are good arguments both for and against. And I've heard both, all right? That is number one. Number two is that the thing is, I have always said, as others have also said, that governance is a continuum. Nobody can finish the task within even 10 years. So you must run the thing in such a way that somebody picks up from where you are and then continues. Now, that's a principle. That principle, even within parties, is not settled. It is not settled that President Akufo-Addo was going to continue everything that President Kufuor started. So, to the extent that we want that, it is an ideal that we haven't achieved yet. That's one. Then, a very, very important point is this. See, if our president or our government came into office prepared, if they came into office prepared, for instance, I don't know why you campaign for virtually 4 years, but you come into the office and you need 6 months to set up your cabinet. You should tell us during the campaign who you're going to pick. And indeed, they have those minds, but then the party political system kicks in. So the problem is, much as they should come in prepared, they don't. They don't come in prepared. And then when they come in, look, when you are seeking power, there's one thing, but when you have power, the dynamic changes. It changes so drastically. Everything really, really becomes different. So the things that you may have even decided to do, you immediately find yourself in a situation where you can't do them. All right? So we have to admit that even though they should come prepared, they don't come prepared. And there are dynamics that work against them in that sense. Then there is this very important thing. Look, President Kufuor, in my humble opinion, is the best president we have had in this country, beside Kwame Nkrumah. I said in my humble opinion, I beg you. Why?
That's your view.
Exactly, my view. The man had just 8 years after virtually 20 years of dictatorship, and he was a very successful president. Now, for a person who has shown that level of competence and success, to come back and tell you that it is useful for us to go to 5 years, I would defer to him. So that some of what I'm saying is that there are arguments for and against. But when you weigh all of them, plus the very weighty recommendation of President Kufuor, who has been a very successful president under the circumstances, I think we should consider the 5 years as a better option. For this last point also, and here it is. The 5-year term removes every excuse. I don't see how any president can now come back and say, I didn't have enough time. It removes every excuse. So, one or no, add or not, leave it or add, I would say, given everything put together, let us just do the 5 years. And then we take out all the excuse.
Well, I don't want Andy Apakube on this quickly.
On this matter.
But let me acknowledge the presence of Daniel Yao Demelevo. Forgive me. Is former Auditor General of the Republic of Ghana, a board chair of IOCO.
The man is chilling in France. I can see the Eiffel Tower behind him. Hey,
you have to come home.
Come home and let us suffer together.
Right. Alfred, thank you very
good
much.
morning. Thank you for joining us.
Right. Thank you
very much, and good morning to your panel.
Yes, good
Thank
morning.
you very much.
We are inviting you to come back
You
home.
can join me in Paris.
Yes, please.
Yes, Alfred. On this subject, I'm sure my colleagues have done very well on that, except that my position with Honorable Fifi Kote is just reiterating the position of the law, that it is not lawful for anybody to attempt a third term under this constitution. And that is the position that he espoused. And I support that position. And in any case, President Mahama has indicated that he is not in for a third term, and I want to congratulate him for that. And let us leave that matter to rest. Otherwise, what I would also say is that on the position of the term 5 years, I made my point clear that I support it because I think that we need to give the presidency more time to finish whatever. And because of the lingering interest in subsequent elections, people just get deviated along the line, so that it is better for us to have more time for him to complete his assignment. I will leave it at that and then maybe introduce something new in respect of the vote of censure. The vote of censure as captured in the previous.
I'll let you come
report.
to that. But if you're going to another issue,
that is just one sentence. And the former report, the report of what's the name again, Professor Fiajo, and he treats it simply that the government should accept the recommendation that pursuant to the passage of the censorship vote, it must be mandatory on the president to enforce it, because if it becomes discretionary, then all the work done in Parliament will come to naught. And this is a constitution that has created also the Parliament of Ghana. And the Parliament to have come through screening, debates, and all that, having taken a position, the whole institution of Parliament, when it comes to presidency. So that is the pain we suffered in Parliament during the Ufuriata census.
I see.
There are quite a number. I haven't seen that in this new report, but I saw it in the Fiajo report. And the Fiajo report on page 18 says that it must be mandatory on the government when the vote of censure is passed. I will leave it at that, and I want us, when I have the next opportunity, to discuss Article 20
right.
and the rights of pre-acquisition owners.
Perfect. A number of messages says, good morning, Alfred. Those people asking for a 5-year term for presidency, I haven't heard them talking about, rather putting our institutions in order. When you give a politician even 50 years, he or she would still ask for more years. Let's rather shape our institutions and put structures in place that would help them improve. That's coming from Dr. Twahene Asante. Thank you very much for your message this morning. Talk with Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo also sends us a message this morning. It says, good morning. I differ in opinion with Musa Dankwa that the NDC has no one outside his selection of people. There's an NDC young person coming who will shock the entire nation. Mark my words. Talk with Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo. Thank you very much for your message this morning. Maybe it is Doji Tamaklo is talking about, you never know. And he sends one about the constitutional review recommendations as well, which I'll get into shortly. But this one also here says that to the extent that we have seen some type of governance over the last years from 1992, in my view, we should tinker carefully with this idea of extending from 4 to 5 years. What that means is that if we have bad governance over a 4-year period, imagine it happening over a 5-year period. You'll see. Thank you very much for your message this morning.
What about if it's good?
Just your quick thoughts on this, Mr. Damolevo, on this specific proposal of this 4-year to 5 years extension by the Constitutional Review Committee in this report that they have just submitted to the President. Just your quick thoughts on this, please.
Well, thank you very much, and greetings to your panel again. In my considered opinion, the 5 years proposal is okay, is good. I'm looking at it from an accountant's point of view. Election is very costly, is very expensive to the country. Take 20 years, and that will have saved us an election. I hope you get me. In 20 years, we will have had 5 elections, given the current scheme we have. But shifting to 5 years means that it will be 4 elections. In 40 years, we will have saved 2 elections. And if anybody is able to compute what it costs us for an election, it's a huge savings. That is one. But beyond that, to be honest with you, implementing any strategic plan for an organization requires some time. And like I think your panel might have addressed their minds to, when a new government comes in and now trying to familiarize, of course, they will come out with their manifesto when they're in opposition. They will do this, we will do this, they do this. It's only when they get into office, they get the shock of their life. Many of the assumptions that they made before assuming office are not real. And many things that they thought they can just do by talking cannot happen. So before they find their feet, the first year is gone. And so the second, third year, they are in operation. By the fourth year, their mindset is, how do we win the next election? So they don't get time to manage the economy well. So in my candid opinion, it's good, especially when the change is going to be endorsed or rejected by Ghanaians. It's not as if it has been imposed on us. I'm sure it is going to be subjected to a referendum. And if Ghanaians say that is what we want, who are you to say it is not good? So me, I'm all for it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Lady Tamaklo, so as we round up on this particular one, quickly.
Okay, so because, many years ago, I was lucky. I was recruited by Professor Atuguba to be on the Fiajo Commission. And so we went throughout the country. I did Greater Accra, did all the coalition of the views on the specific issues. A report was generated. If you recall, President Mahama had set up the Professor Ibio Dankwa Implementation Committee. Just when the committee was just about finishing its work, there were aspects that needed to go to Parliament. Then the respected Professor Kweku Azar took portions of the work to the Supreme Court, challenging that process. By the time the Supreme Court finished its work, it was around 2015. The referendum could not happen because the EC had to do the 2016 election as well. Today, President Mahama is back. I think President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo decided to do selective portions of the report, targeting the local governance portion, whether DC should be elected or, so he basically messed the whole thing up. President Mahama is back, and there's a certain renewed effort on the issue of the Constitution review. My position is that this document is one of the enduring legacies of President Rawlings, and I strongly also think that a review should be fixing a mischief. Unless, of course, we identify the mischief inherent with the implementation of the 1992 Constitution, a wholesale amendment may come problematic, like an overhaul. And so I would urge caution in all these conversations. Two, because the government is yet to issue its white paper on the work done by Professor H. Kwesi Prempeh, I want to hasten slowly and staking out my position on specific issues, because eventually if government comes out with this white paper, the white paper will give you the government policy position on the specific recommendations. And I do not want a situation where I misalign with the position of government on that verse issue. So I would, in the exercise of a bit of caution, say I want to await what the government white paper on the specific recommendations will be. And whatever position government takes, I would have to support that position. That's what I have to say.
Well, but then again, also, that doesn't mean that some of the issues that have been recommended in there.
No, I mean, if you talk about, say, for instance, 30 years paid. Yes, as we speak, I mean, in France, there's a young man there, Jordan Bardella.
Yeah.
Jordan is on the verge of replacing President Emmanuel Macron, if you look at the numbers. and how the numbers are looking. And he's barely 30 years old. If 21, I can represent a constituency. And if you look at the Constitution well, it says for a president, you must also be qualified to be a member of parliament. And so if 21 qualifies a person to be a member of parliament, my last check, then 30 should do. I tried reading. Yes, I'm just saying,
Yes.
I tried reading what happened in the Constituent Assembly when the decision was to peg it at 40 for the current arrangement. There was no scientific basis. There was no scientific basis. They just said,
Remember, we used to have it at 35.
no argument.
Really?
Yes. If you look at it, there was no scientific basis.
Nobody was an argument.
No, when I say argument, they just said, look, you see, if you look at the other clauses, for instance, Article 2, senior, the reason why they introduced Article 2 was the problem they had with the 79 Constitution to for an Attorney General. Because if you recall in Tufo and Attorney General, the argument was raised that Tufo was a busybody, a meddlesome interloper. What is he doing in court? And so when the 1992 Constitution came, they cleverly put in there Article 2 so that it clothed everybody with the capacity to defend. Because then SOA and Co. had to come up with that legal concept of a community of interest with the Constitution itself. To avoid that happening, Article 2 was included in the 1992 Constitution. Even when Article 2 came, that argument again faced in MPP, IGP, Mensima, and the rest, when people now raise the issue of capacity, and the court roundly dismissed it, that the nature of capacity applies to both artificial and, natural persons as well. If you look at the Constitution broadly, our checkered history has always influenced specific provision, even including the removal of justices of the superior courts.
Okay.
Article 146. Those things were specifically dictated by our history in the past. And so I want to say that I would await the government white paper on the H. Kwesi Prempeh Committee's report, and that will inform our further discussion on the first matter.
The age limit.
Yes.
And I would want us to consider that one because it's a national phenomenon. As you age up to 80, 85,
but look at U.S. Supreme Court judges. But if you look at U.S. Supreme Court judges, the very moment you are appointed onto the U.S. Supreme Court, you stay there until death do us part.
Oh, but that is
I'm just saying. President Biden set up the Presidential Commission on the U.S. Supreme Court, and it came out with all kinds of recommendations.
Right.
The U.S. Constitution does not specifically limit the number of justices to 9. But over the period, convention-wise, they have kept it at 9.
Okay.
So sometimes you don't need specific amendment to address,
But again, it is common
this
knowledge that
specifics.
even as you age beyond a certain level,
In terms of capacity?
capacity.
Of course, yes.
So
Okay,
I
so-
would rather we concentrate on the ceiling so that if you are coming in at age 75,
Are you by chance saying that President Paul Biya is not doing very well for Kenya?
Very well. Mr. Bento, quick one. Let me conclude on
75, for example,
Thank you very much.
you shouldn't start from
Thank you.
On the issue of the age, I've listened to people like Prof. And again, there are arguments for and against. And I'm going to derive my conclusion this way. Listen, at 25, all of us have been 25.
Yeah, before.
We have an adage in Akan, opening no being ebida.
Bofrade.
Abofrade. What it means is that you don't know how it is like to be older, but you know how it is like to be younger. At 25, you feel omnipotent. You feel you can do everything. And for the defense of young people, look, check Isaac Newton, the greatest genius who has ever lived. Check some of people like Einstein, all right? geniuses do their best work before they are 30. You'll be surprised because you read about them later and then you realize how young they were when they did their work. What it means is there's some power in youth that we should not overlook. But having said that, when you hit 40, like most of us have hit, maybe apart from you, Alfred, when you hit 40, one of the things...
I'm 40.
Oh, fantastic. You look younger than 40.
Indeed.
See,
okay.
one of the things that I realized, and I was very precocious at younger, you have all kinds of ideas. But when you hit 40, you notice how immature you were at 25. And so those who haven't hit 40, you may not realize it. But then you realize that, Jesus Christ, I didn't know so much. I didn't have certain things that I needed to have. So when you say there's no scientific basis, it's people who have hit 40 who have realized these things, who know that it is not too safe.
Yes. So when we speak, you should listen.
I beg, you don't know how I'll end though, so let me derive that. To put a country in the hands of, let's say, a 30-year-old. But all that being said, like I said, geniuses do their best work before they are 30. One. Number two, we also know that when you hit 40, 45 going down, you are too cautious. You don't take some risks. You don't make some tough decisions. You don't charge the way you would charge if you were young. In the country like Ghana, given the circumstances that we find ourselves, and my next decade will be 60. So I don't speak brashly. But I have said often that there is nothing in Ghana that should be run. Everything should be transformed. Everything. And you will hardly find anybody who is in their 50s who is looking to transform anything. To that extent, therefore...
President Mahama is seeking to transform the country.
You see, he's seeking to transform the country. Which is what President Kufuor wanted to do. In fact, everybody wanted to transform the country.
That's right.
My point is the energy, and with all due respect, because I'm going to use the term, the level of recklessness you need to be able to charge at certain... Look, some of the things that President Rawlings did, okay, some of them looked excessive, but they had to be done. Okay, I'm not talking about the killings and things, but I'm talking about some of the things that even didn't yield, like getting the youth into the bushes to evacuate cocoa, some of the things he did, we needed to do that for national mobilization purposes. People who are above 45 don't do those things. We are just too careful. I am arriving at the same conclusion. Now, what it means is that I support the reduction to the 30.
From 40 to 30?
Yes, and I've given you my background. But this is the reason why. If you are 30, you are within that sweet spot between being careful and being youthful, all right? Where you would have the energy to take some hard decisions and do some wilder things that older people won't do. That is one. Okay. Number two, nobody becomes president and runs the country alone. You have a whole cabinet to hold you back, to advise you, to guide you. So a person who is 30 is not just going to run the country up and then do whatever they want.
The person who's 80 may have advisors around him too.
Oh, yeah, but the 30-year-old will be the leader. So he will be more action, oriented. Then, note something. In this country today, with a mature democracy, with two parties leading, you cannot become president as an independent. You would have to come through the party system. If you are a 30-year-old who is able to convince your party through the party primaries to elect you above everybody else, you are special. If you are a 30-year-old who manages to get your party to elect you above everybody else to be a flag bearer, and then you manage to get the country to elect you as president, then you are special. And for that, we will be the losers as a country if we have such special 30-year-olds amongst us and we deny them leadership simply because of their age. Look, Alexander the Great conquered the known world before he was 30. So I'm saying that I support this thing, and I've heard you very well on it, but we should harness the power of youth. And my last point on this, the youth we have today are smarter than us.
Yes.
They are more exposed than us. They have had the benefit of better things than we had. Prof, you and I agree on that.
That one
We have come a long way. But to our own benefit, we've raised our children better. So to that extent, if you have a 30-year-old who is exposed, who is knowledgeable, who is smart enough to get, his peers and his elders to vote him at a political party level to be their flag bearer, even when they have all these elders there, and manages to get the whole country to vote for him, that person is special. We will be the loser not to have them. Let's allow the 30
Yeah, of course, you always make very powerful arguments, and I appreciate that.
Thank you. Prof. But then you have a different view.
Yeah,
Okay.
slightly different. I have made my position clear that the 30 is too low, the 40 is too high. I will peg it at 35. And the reason I say this, we are being impressed by what is happening elsewhere in Norway, and now France may have
stable systems.
Yeah, but we forget the context of these two countries. In Ghana, by the time you are about 25, it used to be higher, but now let's say you get your first degree around 22, 23, maybe your master's degree by 27, I don't know. And unlike Europeans and even Americans, in college, they are already exposed. They are coming on trips all over the place.
True.
The educational system exposes them to so many interesting things. In Ghana, very few students have that opportunity to be exposed whilst in school. Okay? Those in the elite schools, they go, like Legonais, they go on summer holidays, but they go shopping or working a little bit and coming back. So my position is that at 30, you haven't acquired the exposure. Because look, ruling a country, you're talking about parliament. It's not a constituency. Today's global politics and the geopolitics in addition is not something you just come in with no exposure, no special preparation, no experience. Look, let me say this without any offense to anyone. When President Mills decided to induct very young people into government, we saw what happened. Most of them started doing their master's degree, using state time and resources. Some were traveling to London every other month or so. Week. Week. And so on and so forth. And those who went to GIMPA had to spend time. And that tells you that, look, even at that age, and some were maybe 28, 29, 30 and thereabouts, they still felt the need to re-educate themselves and to be exposed. So my argument is 35, by 35, a young person will have hopefully acquired the necessary experience, the exposure and everything, and the maturity to manage a country like Ghana, the affairs of this country. So whilst I'm not denying, Kofi, your point about younger people being smarter than us, and I concede. In fact, what they do with the phone, if you ask me, all I know is to just call and receive calls, you know. But ruling a country is more than that. They may be serving those people you cited.
They are special.
Yeah. They are specially gifted. So if somebody invented something at 28, it doesn't mean that that person can rule a country. So I think let's make a difference between that. So 35, I think, is a very fair age to peg the limitation.
I see. There was a concern in the report that Lawyer Matikpebu, and that leads us to the next aspect of the report you touched on briefly earlier.
Yes.
But this has to do with the declaration and publication of assets. The IMF in the 5th review report, point 58 on page 70, says that's an effective asset declaration regime for public officials is still lacking. And this is from the IMF report, and I'll tie that into what is in the Constitutional Review Committee's report. It said the draft conduct of public officials bill submitted to Parliament introduces improvement in scope, coverage, and sanctions regime, but the absence of any publicity requirements for senior officials leaves a critical gap in its effectiveness. Public disclosures is essential to deter illicit enrichment, strengthen public trust, and enable civil society oversight. Key pillars for effective anti-corruption frameworks. Without this provision, the regime risks becoming a compliance exercise rather than a meaningful safeguard against corruption. Urgently identifying and submitting to Parliament a constitutionally feasible option to implement this structural benchmark as close as possible to the original objective must be a priority for the final review under the program to ensure the regime's effectiveness in combating corruption. So this is an outstanding benchmark in the review, which the IMF says they expect government to actually meet before the end of the program in the next 3 months. The publication of assets as well. And they indicated that with their earlier engagements, government had indicated this was going to be dealt with by the Constitutional Review Committee. That was at a cabinet meeting. So if you check point 42 of the IMF Fifth Review Report, they say that when this matter came up, the government representatives indicated that cabinet had taken a decision that the matter of publication of the assets declaration forms will be dealt with by the Constitutional Review Committee's work. We checked the Constitutional Review Committee's work, and at least for now, what we do know and what has been made public, it doesn't address it as has been put in there. That's a major issue for you in there, Labatibebo?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a key issue for me. So as I christened it this morning, President Mahama has to consider that law the legacy of legacies. That must be it. That must be it. That is to say, the Code of Conduct for Public Officers must have a provision that allows for the publication of the assets once declared. So the mantra will be publish or perish. Publish or perish. Look at it. As I brandished earlier on, Rawlings declared his assets, PVOB, all of them. What happened? You hear arguments. Even in the Fiajo report, they went and told Fiajo, the commissioner, Eduje and Co, that if they publish their assets, armed robbers were attacking. Yes. And they said the same thing in Parliament in the 90s. You can Google it. CDD did a report on this same law, and that's why the parliamentarians said in Parliament that they are ready to debate. Yes, that armed robbers will attack them. So when JJ, yes, exactly, when JJ, PVF, Obey, etc., all of them
for the house.
Can you imagine? Please, I think we should stop joking about this. You see, I like how Mr. Okanse has, read those portions, and we should allow TV3. TV3 has been very, very consistent about this. We did a symposium on it 2 years ago. And then last year, was it in November, we did another symposium on it, the lifestyle audit and, of course, asset declaration law. So at least in recent times, see that TV3 is taking a center stage on this matter. And I have consistently said that that would be the game changer to the fight against corruption. It will be the game changer. So Professor Bafo Agyemang Duah sits here. If he declares his assets, and I live with him, let's say, in Nkwanta, and I find that, Professor Bafo Agyemang Duah, you have 11 houses. You've come to declare 6. The remaining 4, why are they not on your declaration form? I would quickly then send an email to the Auditor General that this, quietly. Then Professor Bafo Agyemang Duah will be called in. But if we don't do that, so that's to say, sunshine is the best disinfectant. If we don't do that, and we just say that the Auditor General should take and go and do verification. What verification? How many officers of the Auditor General would you have? So just look at it this way. We need 34 million watchmen as against 1 or 2 officers of the Auditor General as watchmen. No, we need the whole nation. Like the way in Ghana we say that there are 34 million Ghanaian coaches. So in the same way, we need 34 million watchmen because we need to crack this fight against corruption. And this is one of the easiest. Look, you go into our history. Let's go to the Jiage Commission. Eduji referred to Lawyer Pierre's this conviction a few weeks ago when Lawyer Pierre, by the way, by way of reminder, was a public prosecutor, right? Now, do you know how Lawyer Pierre was caught? When the Jiage Commission was set up, people went in the night, or let's say somebody put the evidence, his bank accounts in Barclays Bank, London, etc. They put it in an envelope, and when they put it in front of the Jiage Commission, their office, surreptitiously, that's what Ghanaians like most. Yes, that provide an opportunity. When he gets the opportunity, he will come and give the evidence quietly, anonymously. So when you put the assets online so that people can check, Can you imagine? They will get the information and they will give Auditor General information anonymously. Then these people can be taken on. But if you hide the declarations, then you've done nothing. That's why I say IMF, of course, we are telling the IMF we are not happy with what they did. We told them from the beginning that they should have made this particular law a condition precedent. You know, the IMF today have a lot of politics. You know, they are also in business. So IMF makes money when we go to them.
No,
so it's like
a loan.
Yes, and
what
it's business for them.
Bailout is a loan.
It's a loan, and they make money.
Yeah,
and when they
charge interest on everything.
Thank you very much. And you remember
not
in the
exponential
80s,
rates, yes.
in the 80s, Prime Minister Manley of Jamaica, and then also they came together and said, look, let's form a new set of institutions, a new bank to help developing countries. Then Prime Minister of UK, Margaret Thatcher, and then Reagan came together and torpedoed it. They said, no. Let IMF and these other Bretton Woods institutions continue. And you see, they've been on our necks. We are never getting out. You see, so the fact that they couldn't make this asset declaration law a condition precedent, I saw through their politics. You know, we mentioned it here. Look, IMF, you have to stand up. You have to stand up. This politics, it won't get you anywhere, because the more you do this, then the more we see that you are really not here for our interest. You're here for your interest.
Mr. Damalovo,
should have done this a long time ago.
I see. Mr. Damalovo, on this one, this particular aspect of the IMF report, tying it into what the Constitutional Review Committee also captured in the point 42 of the IMF report, they say, and I read, the draft Conduct of Public Officers Bill, and earlier I read the 58, the 42 says the draft Conduct of Public Officers Bill includes provisions requiring disclosure of assets owned by high-level officials directly and beneficially, both in Ghana and abroad, and provides improved sanctions regime for non-compliance. However, the Cabinet's decision to remove the critical requirement for guaranteeing public access to the asset declaration information of high-level officials, citing constitutional restrictions, seriously undermines the effectiveness of the said measure. The Cabinet deferred to the Constitutional Review Committee to guide government's position on this matter of whether or not to publish the assets declared by high-level public officials. Mr. Damalovo.
Thank you very much. And I cannot agree more with my colleague, Martin Kpebu. I always love when it comes to public sector reform. I many times equate it to someone standing in a basket or a bucket and we asking him or her to lift him or herself up. It is his weight which is keeping the bucket down in the first place. So how does he do that? In other words, the very people who we want to reform in the public sector are the problem. That's why public sector reforms keep going on forever. They are not ready to do it. It may interest you to know that when I assumed office as Auditor General in 2016, this Conduct of Public Office Holders Bill was already there. The draft was there, but it was forwarded to my office by the then Attorney General, Honorable Gloria Akuffo. And we provided inputs with the hope and prayer that it was going to be passed into law. It was there till Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo assured us, I think somewhere in 2024, that he was going to give us one which met international standard. Which
it says a world class. Yeah.
World class, which means that he was giving us nothing. So he left without giving us anything.
Is that how you understood it?
Yes, with the benefit of hindsight, that is what he meant. He meant, I won't give you anything. That is the international world class that he thought he was giving us, or he said he was giving us. Then comes in the Mahama administration. We have gone a full year. The bill is there. If there is any changes or whatever, addition or subtraction that can be made, it should have been made and passed long time ago. I keep making this argument. You are going to hold a public office. If you are not ready to be transparent, nobody is putting a gun at you, to your head, that take that position. You can't say that I want to play the game, but I will not obey the rules of the game. We have seen corruption disturbing our country unduly. We know also that white-collar crime, Fortunately, you have so many lawyers on the panel. White collar crime is the most expensive or the most difficult crime to fight. But unfortunately, again, in Ghana, the legal framework put it almost at the same pedestal with other crimes. Other crimes which you can easily gather evidence to prove beyond reasonable doubt that somebody has committed. White collar crime, unlike those ones, are committed by intellectuals. Not anybody at all can commit those white collar crimes and get away with them. But those who kill, those who steal, etc., forgive me, I don't think they are very intelligent people. They can easily be caught, and the evidence can easily be put together. So that is why we are saying that, okay, like Martin Bebo said, we put in sunshine. If you wanted to disinfect the system, let us know, Daniel, what you have when you are going to the office. And then when you are leaving the office too, let us have it. And people are assuming that the Auditor General will be able to know what there's so many politicians, how many political appointees are we talking about? Remember, it covers the president, the vice president, all the ministers, members of parliament, all the judiciary, chief directors, and a whole lot of people. My count when I was in office was about 50 to 70,000 people. How will you know what they own and what they don't own? So if they come to the Auditor General and even, assuming we improve the law, said that the Auditor General can verify, he can only verify what the people show to him. For us, there may be several other assets. So if we want to these assets and liabilities declaration to be done comprehensively, then I think that we have put the standard in the COBOL, that is the Conduct of the Office, the Public Office Holders Bill. We must pass that law and also address other related issues. For instance, I don't know whether you are going to come there. Like I just said, that the threshold for fighting white collar crime should be different from other type of crimes. We must introduce as a matter of urgency the need for reverse burden. If it can be established that, Daniel, you own a house which costs maybe 5 million Ghana cedis, but your salary per month is only 10,000. If we accumulate it over a year, that is 120,000. You have been in office for 4 years, so you've made 480,000. How did you come up with such a building within the 4 years? Then the onus should shift to me, Daniel, to prove beyond reasonable doubt that I have other means. Maybe it's a full lotto forecaster and I won lotto, or my parents or relative died and inherited some fortune or etc. If we don't pass this law on reverse the burden, and if we don't pass a law to shorten the time it takes to track financial crimes, what happened last year will happen every time. In fact, it didn't happen the first time last year anyway. Whenever they commit financial crimes or corruption or in corruption-related cases, they keep adjourning the case. In fact, the lawyers on the panel, forgive me, you lawyers, when you adjourn the case, I'm sure you make more money. So you are happy, you keep adjourning the case till there is a change in government, then you hear nolly prosecutor. We are no more interested. So I think we may have to agree. If you want to play the game, you obey the rules of the game. You are going to manage resources of the country. And since the country is not able to ensure that you can't touch these resources because of the position of power we are giving you, tell us what you have at the beginning and tell us what you are going to have at the end. And we need the public to help. The Auditor General is not God. The Auditor General cannot look into your face or look on your record and say that, yes, you have 5 houses, but I know there are 2 more in your village. You will not know. So we need the public to be involved. Thank you.
I see, and that means that the collaboration of the public, the Auditor General also has some powers, is it not? So why is the Auditor General not, for instance, surcharging, as you did?
I thought you should have called the Auditor General to ask him this. But I saw some, forgive me again, I'm not in the country, I've been away for some time now. But I've been following social media. I saw that he is preparing to surcharge some national.
He's preparing to do
national
so.
Service, something. And so maybe the surcharge certificate are coming back. But I remember in one of my interviews, I made a very passionate appeal to him that I'm not feeling the surcharge because I think that tool is a very powerful tool. It is in fact, I've been teasing my colleagues who are judges that even the Auditor General is more powerful than them. Anyway, when it comes to court, yes, you are very powerful. But before we come to court, the Auditor General is very powerful because you as a judge, you cannot go around the society looking for wrongdoers, prosecute them and convict them. But the Auditor General, he goes out looking for infractions or wrongdoing in financial management. When he identifies one and is not happy with you, the Constitution mandates him to convict you by disallowing and surcharging. And that too is not only for recovery, it is also there to bring about deterrence. When people know that, yes, you can't get away with it, especially when we are holding the higher level of government accountable. Because I keep arguing that in public financial management, it storms at the top and drizzles at the bottom. So you don't go and waste your time on the head teacher who cannot account for 2,000 and bring him to Public Accounts Committee. He and his team coming and going back to their village, they spend about 10,000. I don't think that is what is needed. What you need to do is to make sure that the education minister is running for his life. If they see the education minister running for his life, who is a headmaster, he will also comply. If they see the minister of health under the scrutiny, who is the head of a tertiary hospital or maybe a regional hospital. So I pray and hope that my brother Johnson Asiedu, as he has indicated, is going to disallow and surcharge, takes it a bit more seriously and ensure that we hold people accountable. Otherwise, the fight against corruption will suffer a serious damage.
Thank you. I'm going to go for this quick break, but Prof, you wanted to make a very quick input. Yes.
It's a very important issue when you're talking anti-corruption, and I think if the Crusaders succeed, if the nation succeeds in getting this done, I think it will be a major breakthrough for the fight. So I wholeheartedly support that. But you know, in our country, there are some people have certain cultural fears to even let a friend know that they build a house. I'm coming, and that's what Yao said, that if you're afraid of that, then don't get into public office. I think that should be the rule, because serving with the UN in Liberia, look, as poor as that country was under President Salif Johnson, the Anti-Corruption Commission, as they call it, was able to not simply publish, but with pictures when you're appointed, they go around and take pictures of your assets. I have copies in my office. They showed pictures. Of course, the senior official didn't like it, but that's what they did. You see, I don't know if they still sustain that in the country. Because the fact is, if you have built, you have gained your property legitimately, why should you fear that you have 10 houses?
You should be happy that it is being published.
You should be happy. You may inspire people, even by share work that you've done. So I think we need to have a way to break through this. Because if you succeed, I can tell you, corruption could drop 80%. Because they steal and invest it in landed assets or in the banks. And now, hopefully, new bank laws can also help to stem those who steal and go to Switzerland or somewhere and put in the money. So this is a very important point. I just want to feel that we should push to get that law passed.
Thank you.
So that if my good friend in Parliament, you're afraid to let us know you have 10 houses, then you will be,
Indeed. Well, thank you very much for this. And we're also live here on Key Point, also on TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7 and on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on DSTV channel 279 all across the world on 3news.com. Do you suspect you didn't get the right amount of fuel? Do you have issues about the quality of the fuel you bought? Or did you experience bad customer service at the filling station where you bought your fuel? Don't stress, because the National Petroleum Authority is here to assist you. Reach out to their call center on 0302 550 380, 0302 550 380, or feel free to walk into their head office located at Jowolo of the N1 highway or any of the regional offices to make a complaint or inquiry. If you experience any of these issues at a fueling station, you have up to 48 hours to report it. NPA, where customer care meets excellence. As always, I'm told by Kogra Clothing this morning for this outfit and many others that you see me wear on Saturday mornings on Key Point. You can reach them at the 18 Junction, Spintex Road, opposite the Allied Oil Filling Station, ground floor, same building with the Ghana Made store. Call them on this number, 0244 238 341, 0244 238 341 for some more updates. Cobra Clothing, choose right. We'll be back shortly after this quick break. Stay with us. Welcome back to Key Point on TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7 on the Voice of London radio in the heart of the City of London and Voice of London television as well. And this one here says, good morning, Alfred. How can Musa from Nima, I didn't get your import of the message that you sent, but Money Nimani says, good morning. Why can't the rich people in the country be our IMFs so they loan the country money if we need? You say, money, thank you very much for your...
You know, today happens to be Roland's birthday.
Yes, indeed.
We have to do a party here for him. Roland.
Roland Walker, my colleague.
Happy birthday.
Yes, indeed.
Happy birthday, Roland.
Many people as well, Delight and others. But good morning and a happy new year to you and panel. Kazakhstan does a one-term presidential term of 7 years.
Yeah,
6 years for Mexico, known as Sexennia, I beg your pardon. Armenia does it for 7 years. So we can do a critical analysis of their governance and the impact to see
Public class.
whether we support the 5 or 4 years, you say. 5 years is key to make the development milestones we all cry for. That's whether or not. And then Dr. Norte says, let's appreciate the nuances related to the distinction between a committee and a commission of review, you say. Thank you very much. Thank you as well, Dr. Kojo Akakwating. Thank you. On this, the asset declaration and then also this position that Cabinet took, that the Constitutional Review Committee will deal with the element of publication. But then we don't see that actually captured in the report as yet. Maybe the white paper would.
It's a huge, I was going to say error, it's not an error, but it's an omission. I agree totally with Martin. I agree with everybody who expresses the view that it must be published. See, if you acquire wealth legitimately, you don't have a problem exposing it. In fact, some people actually glory in telling everybody what they have and what they have acquired. In this country, there are people who brag that they have 100 houses. We're going to catch them for it. Okay? So, as a rule, there is always a question when somebody is seeking to hide property. There's always a question. That is rule number one. Number two, if you want to get into public office and be annexed to state riches, you necessarily must be prepared to disclose what property you have, so we can keep a tab on you. Because we have had a history of people going into public office and stealing money. I know people who couldn't afford a Picanto, who in 4 years have a fleet of V8s. We all have friends who became millionaires overnight. You understand? Yes. And we are saying, look, we don't envy you. But the point is, this is a poor country. We can't afford this. So please, we all should agree that if you want to go into public office, you would have to declare your assets. And there is no reason why it must not be published. All right? There is no reason why. Just let's publish it. Frankly speaking, I even doubt that that itself will stop even corruption. It is just going to be a very good thing that will bring it down, or at least everybody has a view to some of these things. But deciding not to do it, or having a law that says that you can file it and then it is shelved away, excuse me, doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
Do lifestyle investigations.
It's an omission, but I believe in the discussions that come forth, this is one of the things we must fix. And there should be no argument about it. If you can handle simply that, please don't get into public office.
Well, thank you. Mr. Sorry.
Yes, I'm just reading the IMF, the reservations that they had on it. And if you look at it, the IMF made a point that in their conversation with government, it does appear that Cabinet took a decision to remove what they call to be the public assets to the asset declaration information. And the concern they raised had to do with the fact that that will greatly undermine the effectiveness of the measure.
But it doesn't make sense.
And their reasoning is that if the information is there, then disclosure should come. To the extent that Cabinet has deferred that to the Constitution Review Committee to guide government's position, I want to see in the 127-paged report what exactly the H. Kwesi Prempeh Committee says, particular reference to the issues of asset declaration, and also await government's decision on that critical matter. And like you've all pointed out, you see, in our part of the world, they will say, Unifi Asia, and the manenda hoy. You understand? So the whole idea that, and sometimes that's even what agitates people desire to even know.
When you're hiding.
When you are hiding. You understand? Look, the rich men in this country who everybody know what they have, people don't worry them. No. You understand? I like Ken. Ken will come and tell you, we will feel 200. You know. And that alone had created even an impression in the mind of Ghanaian that he's rich.
Yes.
Do you get it? It may well be that there is no such record of, him. So I think that will be guided based on what the conversations are. I listened to Mr. Daniel.
That's one small thing. Except that H. Kwesi Prempeh, they dodged it.
Yes.
They couldn't deal with it.
Brought back.
They also went through the Pontius Pilate approach.
Yes. And rather said verification is the game.
On that, let me help man.
No. So if I get you right,
yes.
Disclosure, verification.
Yes.
And publication.
So, publication.
Okay, so
publication is the same as the disclosure.
the disclosure.
No.
Yeah, why
You disclose.
But hold on, no. But can we look at it? You people are eminent. Can we look at it from this angle? Maybe a right to information request. Then it is disclosed on need-to-know basis.
That's the American model.
That's one way.
Dodges it.
No, but I'm saying that
Yes.
That looks more like a compromise position.
But Ghanaians say they want
you see, Kofi. The reason I know Kofi's views on this.
No, you don't.
I remember when this bus branding issue came. Kofi and Co were the people who led the court action.
Yes, that's right.
Asking for the information.
Yes.
That eventually culminated in the passage of the Right to Information Act, which today had given it, beyond the constitutional provision, a more statutory position.
Correct.
And the procedure for unmasking public information, provided the information is public in nature.
Correct. Let me help. See, I went to court.
I know
what it took. And I am telling you today, it should not be the norm.
Yes.
It should be the other way.
Even Kofi, you know that after, hold on.
Let me just make the point.
I am on the floor. You see, Kofi, after you, we have moved on. Because you see, I know the pain you went through then. After that, we now put in an enactment. Today, access to public information is a bit more easier today than it was at the time when we went to court.
But not when
progress has been made. I am just saying that on this particular, we can take a compromise position where, for instance, you can make an argument either to a court. Then the court will verify the very reason why you want that information disclosed. The Americans have used that model over the period.
If it's public information, it must be available to everybody.
Wait.
No.
And that particular information has served the public good. If it's just a matter of disclosure, then it can be done on need-to-know basis.
Okay.
Let me also say this.
So that we wrap it up.
I listened to the respected Yao Domelevo. I recall Occupy Ghana. When Occupy Ghana brought the issue of disallowance and surcharge. Now Mr. Daniel Domelevo, when he became the Auditor General, he took it to a different level altogether. I think after he left, the issue of surcharge and disallowance completely went dead.
Backslid, yeah.
I don't know what happened when he left the office. Obviously, with the Supreme Court subsequently describing his removal process to be unconstitutional. But the point I'm making is that subsequent to this, we are all aware that that effectiveness with the skill set of disallowance and surcharge didn't happen. currently, I've seen that the Auditor General has started the process again.
Oh, yeah.
Backroom, for me, is about leadership response.
Okay. Thank you.
What is the body language of the leader?
Let us have a
On this specific issue, please, Edigi.
Yes, sir.
I know the struggle it took for us to do what we did. We now have the RTI.
And the results you got.
Well, the results, yes, we are happy. We have RTI. But listen, it is still too much of a struggle.
Yes,
That is
thank
one.
you.
Okay. Number two, if somebody opts, nobody forces anybody to take public office. If you opt
must be
to
ready.
come and serve in public office, you must be ready to disclose your assets. It must not be somebody's personal job to go to court or any place to say that Edudzi Tamaklo should come and disclose their assets. That is one. Now, number three, if even that were the case, how do you think the person will feel when you have today 60 ministers and then Kofi Bentil gets up alone and goes to a commission and says, I want Edudzi's assets, come and disclose. It's like a personal attack on you.
Targeting.
Thank
Okay,
you.
that's
Thank
wrong.
you.
So what should happen is that there should be a general rule that everybody who comes into this public office declare your assets. And when it comes to doing that too, there's a difference between disclosure,
And
verification, and publication. For the sake of the public, let me go through. Disclosure is self-done. You have to, by law, do it by this time. And the president should not give any extension of the time. He doesn't have any
And
law.
just look, Kwesi Prempeh even
No, it
extends it that
must be a
15 days
precondition
after.
for your appointment.
He says 15 days after.
Which
When the Constitution
is what I'm
says-
saying. Kwesi Prempeh doesn't have any power.
No, there are recommendations.
I beg you. There are recommendations for constitutional amendment. But this is what I'm saying. What the Constitution says today is what is the law. The president doesn't have any power
Before.
to extend it.
Before.
I beg you. That's the point I'm making. So it should be before you take the office. Now that is, you yourself have to do it. Then you are in line with the law. If you don't do it, you shouldn't take the office. Then when the disclosure is done, verification is done by the state, by a properly authorized state agency to go and verify if what you said is true. And there we can have corrections. Look, there are people who have lands they don't know. As lawyers, you find some weird things. There are women, people who have been bequeathed things they don't know. Some of these things bring it up. Okay? So the verification sorts it out. It goes up or comes down or remains the same. Then there is publication. Today, our law does not allow publication. But the publication must be made part of the law to say, once we verify these are the things that belong to this person, then it's nobody's personal problem to go after you. Now, when we do these things, we will sanitize our public space and we would get a handle on the corruption thing. Then when it comes to the surcharge and disallowance, yes, Daniel Dobolovo proceeded, but corruption fights back.
Right.
Anybody who is not surcharging or disallowing is somebody who is not willing to use the powers of the state that have been granted them to fight corruption. That person is complicit.
Thank you. Professor Bafaj Mendia, thank you so much for coming. Martin People, Prime Legal Practitioner, thank you very much as well.
This was me and
to
you.
you.
We have
lawyer,
this is very
Kofi
fine.
Bentil, thank you as well to you. The Honorable Andy Appiah Kubi is a private legal practitioner as well. There's an issue on the matter of lands, which as we serialize the conversation on this Constitutional Review Committee's report, we'll get into quite extensively. Also to you, Lawyer Edudzi Tamaklo, thank you very much. And
my warmest regards to Ambassador Nyaho Tamaklo.
yes, indeed.
He's religious. He watching this program.
Thank you so much. And Delight Philippine, Michael Asari, and then also
We can't appreciate you enough.
thank you very much. And you have a great weekend. And keep watching TV3.